is live and local with Fan Sports Saturday. The Fan Sports Day of the Week. Oh, this is some clever branding. Here's your host, Place Name Here.
Well, place name is Matt Fontana. Other place name is Tim May, and we are just a week away from Ohio State and Texas. You heard Nate mention it there. We get college football back today, but Tim, I don't ever want to wish time away, because everybody says like it's the greatest currency we've ever been given, but I do wish that we were just 1 week into the future, because we would be getting ready for one of the most electric matchups that we will have on the college football slate this year. But, Tim, we still got a week to go, so plenty to get to. But just a week out, how you feeling? How you said? How's your weekend so far, Tim? How you been?
My week has been great. Got to play golf yesterday morning. I've got a new distributor for my the Tim May Show, fanstreamsports.com. And, awesome. Everything's kind of looking up. But number 3, like you just pointed out, football season's really already started. Anytime you can even watch a preseason game, it kind of whets the appetite for what's coming. And then, being around Ohio State and the preseason camp and all the excitement that's being generated there about some people think this could be a hell of a team. There are doubts around the country, as you and I will get into later in this show. But the idea of the talent you see on hand there at Ohio State is really pretty astounding. And but like I've said many times, man, I'd rather see Ohio State, Texas the end of October than the end of August, because I think both of these teams are going to be so much better than they are in the first jump, because they lost so many players, to the draft from last year's, from January's matchup. So it's really a great anticipation for the season. And people who know me know I go into almost a funk when football season is over. I always have. I don't know why. I just like the game. I like everything about the game. I'm talking about from high school, actually Pee Wee, all the way through the NFL, Super Bowl, et cetera. So I'm always excited this time of the year. Always have been.
I love it too. It is an amazing game. And to your point, high school kicking off last night, the excitement around that. The college game, which I just think is there's something about the college game, Tim, that just is different for me.
Yes.
Like, I love the NFL. And, I'm in Cleveland, so I've covered the Browns for a long time. And it's, just doing this job, like Ohio State was always the team that I could just be a fan of. I didn't have to cover them personally. Like, it was not my main thing. I had to explain this to somebody sometime. And it was somebody that I met in college, a buddy of mine. He was not from Ohio. He was from Washington, D.C. And he goes, we were in college. I didn't go to Ohio State. And he goes, why are you an Ohio State fan? I go, you don't understand. I go, if you're born in the state of Ohio, you can go to Toledo, you can go to Kent. I went to Baldwin Wallace, and we'd root for our schools.
Mm-hmm.
But we are all Ohio State fans. A good friend of mine is a Toledo graduate. This was years ago, Tim. I'm sure you remember. Ohio State played Toledo, and I think they played them up at the Brown Stadium. My buddy, who paid money and graduated from the University of Toledo, wore Ohio State gear into that stadium because he goes, I'm a lifelong Ohio State fan. There's just a difference to it. And you're right about this excitement for this season to just kick it off, to just be like, here we go, right out of the gate. And, this Ohio State team, much like Texas, which I can't wait to get into this conversation with you a little bit later, where so many people are pointing and saying, oh, Ohio State can be really hard to repeat. Look at all they lost. And I go, did you watch Texas get drafted? Did you watch all the things that the Longhorns have lost to the draft? And it's just that excitement around these two teams where they are the pin. I know it's 1-3, but Penn State, okay, fine, they're there. But you have two top tier programs with many top tier players on the field, and we get it out of the gates. You're right. It's awesome because we get it right out of the gate and we're there. But you'd rather see them tune up a little bit and be ready to go a couple weeks into the season.
Yeah, great example. What you were talking about earlier, though, is my older son Kyle went to Ohio University, and they were on Court Street. I get the streets mixed up, whether it's Court Street or Union Street, but they were in a bar. They were watching Ohio State, Ohio U way back then, and Ohio U actually had the lead, I think, midway through the third quarter, if not early in the fourth quarter in that game, and they were all going crazy. And then he said reality hit, and they all they all kind of went, wait a minute, but we still want Ohio State to win because, like you just said, you want your team to be competitive, but not so. And it's funny because obviously Ohio State hosts Ohio University, the third game of the year this year. But you're exactly right, and then past that, I mean the anticipation, people have to talk. That's what you're getting paid for. That's what I get paid for, to be on this show, is to talk about, the good and the bad and the ugly of these teams, and why you would doubt some teams, and why you would elevate Texas to be number one in the country, but think Ohio State, coming off a national championship, is all of a sudden going to be 8th or 10th in the country, in Texas, which got beat by Ohio State and lost so many players from that team, just like Ohio State did, would be your number one team. So
they're going to blow out Ohio State, according to some people.
Well, I know. I mean,
that's always there.
Hey, you know what though? Yeah. This kind of opener, you never know what's going to happen. I mean, this is how long is the fuse on the cherry bomb? You know what I mean? I mean, like I said, I saw a cherry bomb go off in my big brother's hand one time. He thought he had plenty of fuse. He did not. Luckily, he came away with all of his fingers. But but the bottom line, you don't know. This is a very great unknown kind of game, except the more I look at it, the more I look at two offenses kind of being reshaped and two defenses that are being reshaped too from a personal standpoint, but are going to be very aggressive in this game because of what's going on with the offenses, across the way. So get after, first-time starting quarterbacks, or in Arch Manning's case, he's started 2-3 games in his career. Ohio State's got to get after this guy. And so we'll get into that maybe later, but I just think this is a hard game to pigeonhole. Let me put it that way.
Tim, when you think about, we're going to talk a lot about the quarterback decision here in just a second, but outside of the quarterback battle, what were you watching in camp? I know there was a lot on the offensive line where you brought in some transfers. Certainly, obviously, you lost some players. And really, at this point, Sarafeld's the only one that we know for a fact, without a doubt, is your starting left tackle. But I was reading this week, and there were some people kind of pointing to this offensive line that say, yeah, there's a lot of kind of unknown, I guess, with the decision-making, but there are some people out there thinking this might be one of the best offensive lines that Ohio State has had in quite some time. We know we lost some on the defense. Wide receivers we don't have to worry about. I feel really good about the secondary and the linebackers. So I guess, is offensive line to you, like it is me, the number one thing that I was kind of watching in camp outside of the quarterback battle?
I asked Ryan Day about that early on, just from what I was watching, because they've got a great coaching staff coaching the offensive line, not just one coach in Tyler Bowen, but they've got a great staff coaching those guys. And number two, the depth, in my opinion, is as good as it's been in a very long time of playable depth on the offensive line. I mean, last year was the real it looked like it was coming on a little bit, but when you think about that team winning a national championship after losing its first-round draft pick left tackle in the 6th game of the year at Oregon, and then losing the eventual Remington Award winner, Seth McLaughlin, after the Northwestern game. I can't remember the number of those games right there in November, though, and then rolling on to win the national championship. Are you kidding me? But the depth on this line is, I agree with Ryan Day, it's the best it's been in his run, in his run as the head coach. And this matter of just putting the people in the places, And the thing about what they've really done under Tyler Bowen, they were doing this last year, which kind of saved their day, but not as much as they've done this year. Cross-training guys to play guard, tackle, maybe guard center in some instances and stuff. But that comes back in what they hope is a 16-game schedule. That comes back to help you down the road. It definitely helped them last year, but there's no doubt that the step up of Luke Montgomery and then Carson Hinsman coming back out of the doghouse last year was huge on this team's run to a national championship. Now those guys are fixtures. I think Luke Montgomery and Carson Hinsman are fixtures. Tegra Shabola at right guard also. We'll see how it goes, but those are returning starters from that 4-game run to a championship. I don't know how you mess with that. And then Austin Saraville, though, talk about stories of preseason camp. There's the guy. Mm-hmm. I mean, actually, the last 7 months has been just reshaped everything about himself. I mean, he's a monster. But then on top of that, how much respect does he hold? He was elected one of the 4 captains. So, if he's not starting, if he's not playing, boy, you really got something going on in a depth-wise. But, no, definitely, the hints are there that he may start at left tackle. So right tackle is a real question. But, Ethan Anianwa, the kid transfer from, not kid, he's a big, huge man from Rice, Phillip Daniels, and some of those other guys competing for that right tackle job, I think, is the big question as they head into pre-Texas week.
Yeah, and I think the interesting thing was, same thing, Hinsman was going to start, but then to hear he is cross-training at guard, and okay, does that open things up? And I think it's twofold of, obviously, you want to put the best offensive line out there, but helping these guys prepare for the NFL and the next step on out, whiwhich is so important.
Whoa. Wait, let me stop you right there, Matt. Yeah. I don't think on Ryan Day's agenda is help these guys get ready for the. I'm not being a smart aleck, but they want to win. They want to win. They want to beat Texas. That's what they're getting ready for. And that's not coach speak. You want to cross train. Cross training is to your benefit, as Luke Montgomery pointed out last year, to show your flexibility. But they're trying to put the right people in the right place to win games this year.
No, I agree, and that's the thing. It's kind of just like a secondary part of that helps, but you're right about
it's a benefit.
How these guys stepped up so much in these spots. And you're right. It was like the start of camp, you're like, okay, you just circle these guys in. But then just to hear the reports coming out, like, okay, these guys are moving around, or we had this flip over, or this player's going over here, was interesting. But it was also like, you might hear that and people instantly start hitting the alarm, going, oh, no, this is bad. And I never felt that way, Tim. I was like, man, I love this, because I was like, I feel really, really good about how Ohio State has redone their offensive line. And I do think that was always something under Ryan Day early in his Ohio State career was, okay, you got all these flashy skill players and you were able to get these types of skill players and that, but what about the offensive line? And now I look to the offensive line, and I'm not going to get crazy and say that it's the strength of the team, because we know what the strength of this team is, and it's led by one of the best college football players in Jeremiah Smith. But now it really has become one of the best units on the field.
Hey, real quick before you go to break, or the key matchup for me watching early in that game is going to be Ohio State's fairly veteran offensive line against Texas's rebuilt front four. You know what I mean, or rebuilt front. So that's one of those key things you got to watch if you care about football, and so we'll see what experience really means.
Colin Simmons, a name you're going to hear about, because he had a 9-sack true freshman season a year ago for Texas, and he's going to be right back there. Got to watch, and we saw him in the playoff game. All right, all that is important, offensive line, receiver, but the most important thing is quarterback. We know it's Julian Sayin, the decision made this week. Can't wait to get Tim's thoughts on it. We'll do it all coming up here. It's Fan Sports Saturday.
The sound of Paul Keels calling a Buckeye game is erotic.
Oh, yes.
Your home of the Buckeyes, the Fan, Ohio sports destination.
This is This Date in Reds Baseball with team historian Greg Rhodes.
Mention the name of former Reds manager Lou Piniella, and it won't take long for a fan to recall that night in 1990 when Lou picked up first base and threw it into right field in an argument with an umpire at Riverfront Stadium. Well, a couple of days after that event, on this August 23rd, the Cincinnati Enquirer, in Lou's honor, held a base-tossing contest in downtown Cincinnati on Fountain Square. And the winner in the women's division, a local TV news reporter in high heels threw a base even further than Lou's estimated toss of 35 feet. In high heels. Take that, Lou. A day to throw some bases this August 23rd, 1990. This date in Reds baseball.
This Date in Reds Baseball is brought to you by the Cincinnati Reds Hall of Fame and Museum, presented by Dinsmore. Celebrating greatness, preserving history, providing inspiration.
Got one of those days that never stops? Try a stop at Speedway. Refresh your fuel tank, refresh your U-tank with 69-cent large Big Gulp drinks. And refresh the vibe for any drive. Refresh at Speedway with 69-cent large Big Gulp drinks with Speedy Rewards, and try exclusive Mountain Dew Infinite Swirl flavor for a limited time only. The convenience stores of Speedway. Valid through 8/26/25. See app for full terms.
Working your way through that honey-do list? That means more flushes, more showers, more fiddling with a thermostat. Trust the pros at the Waterworks with your plumbing and drain cleanings and repairs and all your heating and cooling needs. Our certified pros can repair or replace your furnace or air conditioner. Clogs? Call the Waterworks. Drain cleaning? Call the Waterworks. Plumbing issues? Call the Waterworks. Furnace repairs? Call the Waterworks. The Waterworks. Trusted neighborhood plumbing, drain, heating, and cooling experts.
Hey there, friends. Bo Bishop here. Looking for a bottle of the best blended whiskey in America? Well, look no further than High Bank Distillery Co. Their Whiskey War Barrel Proof won this prestigious title at the San Francisco World Spirits Competition. That's the most prestigious spirits competition in the world. From their classic Whiskey War to Double Oak to my personal favorite, the Cigar Cask, there is something for everyone. Find a bottle near you and learn more at highbankdistillery.com. Drink the best, forget the rest.
The trash talk, the bad trade requests, the horrible reaches on draft picks. It's fantasy football time, and the ESPN Bet Sportsbook at Hollywood Casino Columbus is giving you a chance to hold your fantasy draft in a fantasy location. On August 24th, host your fantasy draft party at the ESPN Bet Sportsbook, which will include a $100 dining credit, draft board, and swag. Visit 971thefan.com and sign up for your fantasy draft party package. Must be 21 years or older. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER for help.
After an audit of our programming, the suits here at The Fan decided we needed more baseball. And that common man is stupid. Good news. We fixed one of those problems. Catch the Reds on The Fan all season long. Yay, baseball.
When it comes to your roofing, siding, or gutter needs, call Newman Roofing. 614-NEW-ROOF. NewmanRoofing.com.
Tailgate season is here, and if your grill makes you have to duck when you light it, it's time for an upgrade. Billiards Plus carries top-of-the-line grills that you can pass down to your kids and gifts the whole family will enjoy. Family owned and operated. Billiards Plus on Dublin Center Drive in Dublin.
I can't wait to meet her. Oh my gosh.
Put your hands together for new Dr. Pepper Blackberry and Dr. Pepper Blackberry Zero Sugar.
There she is! Woohoo! Yeah! It's full Dr. Pepper!
With sweet blackberry flavor!
Dr. Pepper Blackberry, I'm obsessed with your succulent taste. Please marry me!
No! Marry me! Marry me, or I'm gonna freak out!
Try new Dr. Pepper Blackberry.
It's a pepper thing!
Imagine what it would feel like getting tackled head-on by a 240-pound linebacker. You'd be in serious pain, right? But if you're unbuckled in a car crash, at just 50 miles an hour, you become a deadly projectile that can slam into other passengers with 8 times that amount of force. Don't let someone else take the hit. Buckle up and visit buckleup.ohio.gov to learn more. Brought to you by ODOT and ODPS.
On Jackpocket, America's #1 lottery app. New customers opt in and get a free lottery ticket. Download the app and start ordering lottery tickets today. Use code VOCAL. That's code VOCAL on Jackpocket. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. 18 or older. Jackpocket is a lottery courier and not affiliated with the Ohio Lottery. Opt in for $5 in non-withdrawable lottery credits that expire in 168 hours. Terms at jkpt.co/draw5.
Fan weather.
From the Logan AC and Heat Services Weather Center.
Partly cloudy with highs in the mid-80s. We keep a partly cloudy sky overnight tonight with lows dipping back into the mid-60s for Sunday morning. And then by Sunday afternoon, mostly sunny but a bit cooler than Saturday with highs in the low 80s. I'm meteorologist Mike Joyce on 97.1 The Fan.
Question from a listener: do you dopes ever get tired of talking about Ohio State? No. The Buckeye Show.
Weeknights at 6.
The Fan. Just because it's the weekend doesn't mean we shut up. This is Fan Sports Saturday.
As we're getting ready to go for Ohio State, Texas, top 5 matchup, and 2, I'm going to say rookie quarterbacks. I know that's an NFL term, and they're not, sophomore and a junior, but 2 guys that have not played a lot of football in one of the biggest football games of the year. He's Tim May. I'm Matt Fontana. Get you going here on the Fan Sports Saturday. We're here on 97.1. And, Tim, it's Arch Manning, who we talked about earlier. He's got a couple of starts, but really his first major exposure, the hype is already there, and he said he's already coming back. Well, we knew.
Wait a minute. Who are you talking about?
Arch Manning. Yeah, right, yeah. Never heard of
I
him.
was just texting with Paul Feinbaum.
Tim, we'll get to this recruitment story about Arch later too, where they got other coaches talking about Steve Sarkisian's sobriety. I mean, we'll get to that.
Not surprised that came out.
If anybody on this show knows about the ruthlessness of recruiting, it would be Tim May. Some of the stories I'm sure you have over the years, but so we knew it was going to be Arch. Like the second Texas season ended, you knew Arch Manning was your starter. Some thought he should have been the starter last year. Ohio State was not the same, where they obviously brought in Will Howard, and he took them to a national championship. And then the questions were on about Julian Sayin, Lincoln Kienholz. I mean, even guys coming in, Tavian St. Clair. But we all knew it was going to come down to Sayin and Kienholz. And Ohio State took the approach of, we're going to have this battle. We're going to have this camp battle, this quarterback battle. We understand how important it is. But I got to ask you, Tim, and this is one thing I was so excited to do the show with you today, because you're down there, you're much closer to it than I am. I just want to lay out where I was at. You tell me if I was way off base. I felt like this was Julian Sayin's job to lose. I felt like from the start that it was going to – they were open to Lincoln Kienholz overtaking him and doing something monumental to do it, but it was always really going to be Sayin's job. Just, the recruiting factor, like the transfer part of it, which I do think is always a part in some of these kids when they come in, they transfer in and all that. But – I also just think, and I haven't seen a lot of either one of these guys, like I just think Sayin has the higher ceiling, so therefore they were kind of leaning towards him from the jump. Would you say that was probably, did you get the same vibe on that from the Buckeyes?
Well, when you listened to people like me and you and others, I mean, of course that was the vibe because Julian Sayin was so ballyhooed as a high school prospect coming out of Carlsbad, California, as I keep referring to it, he was probably Nick Saban's last major quarterback acquisition, from a recruiting standpoint. So there are all kinds of things that point to him. I mean, and I think justifiably so. But then you have to keep in mind what Lincoln Kienholz came from Pierre, South Dakota, not as ballyhooed. I think he originally committed to Washington, but Ohio State got some tape of him and liked his potential from just a athlete, playmaker kind of fella. When you look at him being the athlete of the year, high school athlete of the year, not football player of the year, but high school athlete of the year nationally, his senior year. I mean, you could see the upside there. I think he's a tremendous quarterback. But you can't just like, I know Ryan Day thinks this, okay, we've got these two guys or we've got these three guys or whomever are in the mix. You still got to go out there on the practice field and as close as they can get to real live reps, prove that you can be not just spectacular, but that you can be ordinarily consistent and run the shows. And so that's what it really came down to. It's like getting two race car drivers, and one race car driver is extremely fast, but every fourth lap he brushes the wall and you got to come in and change tires. That's not good. But you also want a guy who is out there and is fast and learns from brushing the wall that he doesn't do it again. And I think what we saw as camp went on, just putting two and two together, is that Julian Sayin finally proved he can run the thing at high speed and not hit the wall. And because consistency was the word that Ryan Day used about the last week of practice when the thing was still up for grabs about what Julian Sayin proved. I mean, I don't think it was easy at all. I don't think it was predetermined at all, because that's the way you really get yourself in trouble is believing the hype. Now, Will Howard was a total different situation. He had been a player for 4 years, and had played pretty well at high levels. He had his own things he had to get ironed out, though, as the season went along with Ohio State. But he proved to be the right choice in that situation. And I think they ended up with the right guy based on their criteria, because it does them no good. It does a coaching staff no good to bring a guy in and say, you're the guy, and not watch the other guys, because the other guy might, as years go on, become a better quarterback. And I'm talking about Lincoln Kienholz. He definitely still has an upside to him. But now with the specter of a start of an opening game like Texas staring you in the face, you had to come to a conclusion maybe a little bit earlier than they wanted to, although I thought it was exactly the right time. This guy's going to start this first game get after it. And, and when you're ordained as a starter for the first game, they're pretty much telling you, you are the leader. You are the guy that won this race. Now go out and maintain. So because, this is a short-term lifespan when it comes to if you go out there and muck it all up, there's always somebody else to put in.
Yeah, and I think you bring up a fantastic point about the Texas game kind of being the change where I'm sure if they had a normal, and I just use those quotations of what we expect college football to be, but if you had, let's say you had Grambling first and OU second,
right,
instead of, and Texas third instead of kind of the flip, I'm sure we'd have an or situation. And I'm talking about starter Julian Sayin or Lincoln Keenholz.
Maybe,
and then they put them both out there and figure it out.
Yeah, maybe. But I think it's important. Raise my voice there, but I think it's important, not just for the player to know he's a starter, not just for the coaches to know he's the starter, but for the team to know who the starter is. This is a unique position in sport. That's why that quarterback series on Netflix, produced by Peyton Manning and stuff, is so telling because it's the most unique position in sport. It's not like being a starting pitcher because starting pitchers don't have guys knocking the pooey out of them as they're throwing the ball. And they're not making split-second decisions on do I throw to the left or right side? Do I throw a curveball or fastball in the middle of while they're throwing a curveball or fastball? It is such a unique position in sport, probably the toughest position in sport to play. So I think it's important for everybody to know because you know this, Matt, the quarterback becomes your ipso facto leader of your team right from the jump. I mean, we saw Will Howard gain more and more respect as the year went on last year. And I'm not sure we didn't see Kyle McCord the year before sort of lose some of that, as the year went on the year before that, because clearly Ryan Day didn't see everything he wanted to see from Kyle McCord in regards to being the quarterback, the starting quarterback at Ohio State. And that's why they redressed it. And, of course, Kyle McCord left and went to Syracuse. But my point is this guy is such the leader of your team. When you think of a football team, when you think of the Cowboys, that new series on right now with Jerry Jones and everything, you think of Troy Aikman, and then everybody else. That's at least I do. I mean, there are other guys you definitely come to mind,
Sure.
like Michael Irvin and Emmitt Smith. But you think of Troy Aikman, when you think of the Browns right now, Flacco's back. That just shows you maybe in what desperation the Browns have been to find a starting quarterback. They had one, they let him go, and Joe Flacco. Now they've got him back. He's going to be their starting quarterback because he's the best. He's the best they've been able to put together or find over 3 years, right? And but it means so much to know who that guy is.
Yeah, and it was funny. I was reading an article this week about Julian Sayin where the whole point of the article was he's 20 years old. He's a sophomore, and I get that, but he is going to be tasked with being that leader of this championship team. And you and I are both auto racing fans, so like you were talking about the driver, and I thought about this where this is a driver put in good equipment. Sometimes you do that in auto racing where the car, some of the lesser teams can't afford to give the guy the right car, can't compete.
Yeah.
Julian Sayin's got the best, analogy of he's got the best car in the field that you could ask for. He's got talent everywhere, and it's his job to command and lead that.
That's what I used that analogy earlier. This isn't like Ryan Day's giving him the keys to a station wagon or a minivan.
Yeah.
Giving him the keys to a sports car, which can go very fast, but also can get you into a lot of trouble if you don't know what you're doing, if you don't know what gear to be in, what button to push. And it's really interesting, though. The 68 Buckeyes were led by a first-time starting quarterback in Rex Kern. The 2002 Buckeyes were led by our first-year starting quarterback in Craig Krenzel. 2014, we all know what happened there, with J.T. Barrett and then Cardale Jones, first-time starters. And then, of course, last year was he wasn't a first-time starter, but he was a first-time starter for the Buckeyes and Will Howard. So, believe me, it can be done with a first-year starter.
Well, speaking of a guy that has won a lot of games and not a first-year starter, it's Joe Burrow. And I want to talk about the Bengals. They have their season finale today. We know Burrow not playing, the starters not playing, but a really interesting take this week from Burrow when he said no one is playing better than he is right now at the quarterback position. Heavy words from Joe Burrow. We'll talk about it next in 2 minutes right here on The Fan.
Dear McDonald's, your breakfast menu, fire. 10s across the board. I could be happy with anything, even though I order the same thing every time. Thanks for not judging me. I'll try something new next time. Maybe.
For a limited time, you can enjoy a savory sausage McMuffin with egg meal, including golden hash browns and a small hot coffee for just $5. Price and participation may vary.
Ba-da-ba-ba-ba.
People can't say enough amazing things about Vanscoy Hair Clinics. Men and women struggle with hair loss every day, and they completely change their lives. Vanscoy Hair Clinics is the only company in Ohio that has PRP, platelet-rich plasma, and the multi-unit hair grafting hair transplant procedure. Go to vanscoyhair.com for more info, or call 614-432-8042. Here's what some of their hair transplant clients have said.
Around 26, 27, I lost almost all of my hair on top. It changed my life in ways that I could not imagine.
My hair is going to continue growing for the rest of my life.
There is hope that you can do something about your hair loss.
Multi-unit hair grafting gives you 3 times more hair per procedure, saving you time and money. Hair transplants are more affordable than ever, and PRP is a fast, easy, and effective 45-minute treatment for thinning or damaged hair. Call Vanscoy for a free consultation, 614-432-8042, or visit vanscoyhair.com. That's 614-432-8042. Find out what procedure will restore your hair.
You may play the Ohio Lottery, but how well do you know the odds? True or false? When more people play Powerball or Mega Millions, the odds of winning a jackpot are worse. It's false. The odds for draw games don't change. The game design sets the odds so your odds stay the same no matter who plays or how big the jackpot is. The only thing that is worse is the number of coworkers expecting free lunch if you win. I mean, how many tacos can one man buy every Tuesday? Learn more about common lottery myths at ohiolottery.com/knowtheodds. Lottery players are subject to Ohio laws and commission regulations. Play responsibly.
No hot takes, no dancing, plenty of stupid. Bishop and Friends.
Weekdays from 9 to noon.
The Fan, Ohio sports destination. Instead of annoying national people talking to you this weekend, we've opted for annoying local people. This is Fan Sports Saturday.
Bengals wrapping up their preseason today. Don't worry, Joe Burrow's not playing. We saw enough of him. Pretty much everybody sat down. We'll get to the Trey Hendrickson situation a little bit later here on Fan Sports Saturday. Welcome back. I'm Matt Fontana. He is Tim May, and as Burrow sits down, puts the bow in the preseason, and getting ready to go for a regular season, Tim, I thought this article this week from Sports Illustrated and Albert Breer was a really kind of eye-opening one for me when it comes to Joe Burrow, because the headline says, Joe Burrow, no quarterback is playing the position better than I am right now. And I don't think that's I like the bravado, if you will, from Joe Burrow. I think he's obviously carried himself well, and he's not one of those guys that's out there throwing darts at people. But I also look at Joe Burrow and believe that, truthfully, he could be the best quarterback in the NFL. He's got all the skill set. He obviously puts up just insane numbers. It's just kind of the defense around him and things kind of out of his control. And to hear him say that, I think it's probably putting the rest of the NFL on alert, saying, hey, I'm feeling good. But then, as Breer kind of chronicled here in this article, he has not had a normal offseason in his entire career. 2020, he was a rookie, and obviously COVID was going on. In 21, he was coming off the torn ACL. In 22, he had appendicitis that cost him most of camp. In 23, he was battling that calf injury all of camp. And this last year, he had a wrist injury that at the time, people were extremely concerned about Joe Burrow's wrist injury. And then he had Jamar Chase and T. Higgins trying to get paid last year too. So I know the Hendrickson thing is there, but it's I think that's probably on the periphery for him. So he comes into this camp healthy. They got a new defensive coordinator. They've invested a little bit on that defense. Higgins is taken care of. Jamar Chase is taken care of. They kind of feel a little better about their offensive line situation. Like I sit here and I hear Burrow say these kind of things, and I'm like, man, this could be a huge year for the Cincinnati Bengals.
Yeah. If they could just keep the defense from beating up Joe Burrow as the year goes on, I mean, boy, they would really be onto something. I mean, that's been what's lacking, in my opinion, more than anything else. But, the games that they, it's been almost like the Bengals have had to outscore everybody they play. By outscore, you know what I'm talking about. Hold serve when you've got the ball, you've got to score because your defense is probably going to give up something on the opponent's next possession. That's tough. And I think Joe Burrow is as tough mentally. Maybe put that in there too, which makes you makes you be able to claim you're playing the position better than anybody else too. I think he's as tough mentally as there is in pro football right now at the quarterback position. I think Patrick Mahomes is pretty damn good though. And that would be interesting in a backyard pickup game, which one you would pick first, because I think Patrick Mahomes can make more out of nothing sometimes than maybe Joe Burrow can, even though Joe Burrow's athletic ability is pretty obvious. But then past that, it's no one likes to. I think anybody would like to maybe win the award of Comeback Player of the Year once in their career, but doing it twice, that's not good.
Yeah, that means you had to have the down year.
You had to get hurt. Sure. I mean, usually you've gotten hurt really bad or something has happened in your, as Hayden Fry, former Iowa coach, late Iowa coach, would say, you had a hitch in your get-along, and you had to get that fixed. But the bottom line is he's definitely on the cusp. I mean, the guy, I'm not sure anybody knows the game better than Joe Burrow. When you watch, I mean, like I said, I referenced that quarterback series on Netflix, but go watch it. I mean, the guy lives and breathes playing the position. And he also is big on no distractions during a season, meaning even from his family. And so it's an interesting, curious thing because, man, once he finally got recognized as the guy, I mean, coming out of high school, finally Ohio State did recruit him. Tom Herman was part and parcel of that because he saw something really special in him. He had to convince Urban Meyer to take him as a quarterback, and because they were in on a guy out on the West Coast, and Tom Herman said, this guy right down the road in Athens has big time upside, and they finally went and got him. And then, of course, we know the just when it was his chance to be the starting quarterback at Ohio State, the preseason or early season injury that put him kind of behind Dwayne Haskins Jr. as the backup back in 2017. It was huge because then Dwayne Haskins Jr. got that chance to go into the Michigan game and save it in 2017. And going into 18, the one thing Joe Burrow didn't have was that video of him going into the Michigan game and saving it. It was Dwayne Haskins Jr. who had it, and the Buckeyes ended up going with Dwayne Haskins Jr., and Joe finally, going into his, I think it was headed into his fourth year, right, of eligibility, opted to leave and ends up, and a lot of people thought he'd end up like at a place like Cincinnati or something. He ends up at LSU and has what I'd call a mediocre year in 18, but in 19, boy, with a few changes they made offensively with Joe Brady and all these other guys, all of a sudden, boom, he's the best quarterback in college football, one of the best ever. And finally, when he got his chance, when things didn't get in his way, you saw what he was all about. And I think that's what we're talking about right now. If they can get this distraction of Trey Hendrickson out of the way, this Bengals team, I don't see any team with two better tandem of wide. Maybe some are as good, but no better tandem of wide receivers than he's got at his beck and call down there. And I think they can definitely go places.
I agree, and that's a good point about Burrow because I've always held him on just such high regard. Like, I think he is truthfully a top 4 quarterback. That's not saying, oh, wow, really going on a limb, Matt. But it's like, I look at him and I say, he got to the Super Bowl so early in his career. And then people say, well, they'll just be a staple there forever, and they'll be back every year in the AFC. And then you sit there and like, okay, well, without any doubt of any shadow of a mind, 4 of the top 6 quarterbacks in the NFL are in the AFC. Lamar Jackson, Josh Allen, Joe Burrow, and Patrick Mahomes. You want to mix in, Jalen Hurts or whoever else you want to go from the NFC side of things, I understand it. But the gauntlet that he has to go through just as much as the other do going up against one another. But, I still just default to that about Burrow. You're right, Tim. That 2019, that was one of the greatest single quarterback seasons in college football history.
Oh, yeah.
He goes number 1. He gets his team to a Super Bowl, and there has been a lot of the other stuff out of his control that have changed things, but I've never lost hope that Joe Burrow can be the guy, and I think maybe this offseason being the way that it's gone for him is really could be a primer for a big season.
Hey, man, think about this. Those quarterbacks you just named. All right, put Joe Burrow in the mix with Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson. What's missing from their resumes as we get ready to launch into the 2025 season. Super Bowl victory. I mean, that will be the final decider, I think, in a lot of people's minds of which one of those three is the best. Patrick Mahomes, obviously, has been there, done that a few times. And so now, can you take your team all the way to the promised land? Does that change the way I think about any of those guys as great quarterbacks? No. Dan Marino is one of the great quarterbacks in history. He didn't win a Super Bowl. But the bottom line is, I think right now Lamar Jackson has done everything but that. I think Joe Burrow has done everything but that. Josh Allen, I'm not going to repeat what I just said, but ditto is what I would say. Now let's see it. And, man, that's a lot of big-time starting pitching, wanting to win a World Series game. I mean, it's huge when you think of any analogy of those guys champing at the bit at the start of this 2025 season. That's a great quarterback lineup of everybody going for the same prize.
Yeah, and speaking of price, certainly a big one is on for Micah Parsons because he's still holding out. Jerry Jones going on podcasts, saying things left and right.
No surprise.
Want to get Tim's thoughts on everything when it comes to Micah Parsons. And is there a chance that this is bleeding over into the Trey Hendrickson situation? Because we know Hendrickson and the Bengals have reportedly agreed on money and years and annual salary. It's the guaranteed money. And I wonder if Micah is having an impact on that. Want to discuss it all next. We'll do it right here. Fan Sports Saturday.
We know everything about you. We know you love the Buckeyes. We know you love the Jackets. We know you're wearing a red shirt. Just freak the hell out of someone. The Fan.
Heading back to school is a good deal better at Meijer. Start off on the right foot with buy one, get one for $1 athletic or Skechers shoes for the family. Earn an A+ on lunch with hot deals on Meijer brand must-haves all season long. Meijer peanut butter, jelly, and round top bread are just $1.39 each. Meijer meal prep containers are $5.49. And Meijer disinfecting wipes are $2.99. Enjoy the back-to-school good life at Meijer. Exclusions apply. See all deals in the Meijer app.
Great Lakes Hyundai. The savings are so good.
Now at Great Lakes Hyundai of Dublin, lease 2 Elantras for $200. That's right, lease 2 new 2025 Elantra SEs for just $200 a month for 24 months. Both your new Elantras come with complimentary Hyundai maintenance with free oil changes and tire rotations for your entire lease. G-Lakes Hyundai of Dublin.com with approved credit, $39.99 down per unit plus taxes, fees, first month payment, 10K miles per year. In time due.
Hi, I'm Dr. John Runyon from Runyon Dental Group. Are you missing teeth or do you have uncomfortable dentures? Dental implants can not only transform your smile, they can restore your confidence and allow you to eat those foods you love that you've been missing. When I was in my early 30s, I was in a similar situation needing complex dental work and dental implants. I understand all the emotions that you're feeling because I've been the patient and I know that we can help you. Schedule a free consultation today at runyondentalgroup.com. That's runyondentalgroup.com.
I'm here with my friend Bob Capace from Worthington Jewelers. Bob, I hear you guys are having a big sale.
You know it, Common Man. Can you believe it? We're celebrating our 25-year anniversary.
August 19th through the 23rd, you can save up to 60% off in-stock jewelry.
And we'll have surprises and giveaways in the store all week long.
25 years of Capace goodness. He's my guy. Remember the dates. August 19th through the 23rd. Worthington Jewelers on High Street in Worthington. WorthingtonJewelers.com.
In this time of financial instability, create your own personal safety net by using the equity in your home to secure a home equity line of credit. It'll give you immediate access to money whenever you need it, whether it's for a fun project or a big purchase or in case you fall on hard times. And for a limited time, you can lock in a 1.99% introductory APR for 6 months at Kemba Financial Credit Union. Give yourself peace of mind. Apply now at Kemba.org. APR equals annual percentage rate. Federally insured by NCUA. Equal housing lender. Offer ends September 30th. NMLS 292230.
The dog days of summer are the best days to save at Coughlin Chevrolet. Lease a new 2026 Chevy Equinox, only $259 a month. New 2025 Silverado, lease for $359 a month. See our full inventory at CoughlinChevrolet.com. Together, let's drive.
Coughlin has the car for you.
36-month lease with $39.99 due at signing, plus tax, title, and license. 10,000 miles per year, 25 cents per mile over. See dealer for details. Ends 9/2/25.
T-Bone's an expert at making mornings better. He brought back the bagel sandwiches at McDonald's. He feeds birds out of his mouth. And he hosts a radio show guaranteed to make you smile. Yay, T-Bone. Yes. T-Bone and Tyvis.
Weekday mornings at 6.
The Fan.
Hi, I'm Rick Germain, and it's the Toyota National Sales Event all month long at Toyota West. With over 600 new and pre-owned vehicles available, Toyota West at I-270 and Georgesville Road has the car you're looking for. And right now at Toyota West, take advantage of no payments for 90 days, and every pre-owned vehicle comes with a 72-hour exchange policy plus a 3-month warranty for qualified vehicles. Come see us at the Germain Auto Mall on Georgesville Road or get started today at ToyotaWest.com. No payments for 90 days. Deferred payment. Interest accrued at time of inception with approved credit. Expires 8/31.
Save big money on your next project at Menards. Start your next tiling job with professional quality tech installation products. We carry products like floor levelers, mortar, and mastics for any material, along with the grout or caulk color options to complement any tile. Tech installation products are easy to use for a professional result. Save big money on all tech tile installation products. Plus, check out our weekly flyer on Menards.com for all the great deals happening now.
Save big money at Menards.
I can't wait to meet her. Oh my gosh.
Put your hands together for new Dr. Pepper Blackberry and Dr. Pepper Blackberry Zero Sugar.
There she is! Woohoo! Yeah! It's full Dr. Pepper!
With sweet blackberry flavor!
Dr. Pepper Blackberry, I'm obsessed with your succulent taste. Please marry me!
No! Marry me! Marry me, or I'm gonna freak out!
Try new Dr. Pepper Blackberry.
It's a pepper thing!
Working your way through that honey-do list? That means more flushes, more showers, more fiddling with a thermostat. Trust the pros at the Waterworks with your plumbing and drain cleanings and repairs and all your heating and cooling needs. Our certified pros can repair or replace your furnace or air conditioner. Clogs? Call the Waterworks. Drain cleaning? Call the Waterworks. Plumbing issues? Call the Waterworks. Furnace repairs? Call the Waterworks. The Waterworks. Trusted neighborhood plumbing, drain, heating, and cooling experts.
Want to know anything about the fans contest, how to win, or what's up for grabs? Check out 971thefan.com. The Fan, Ohio's sports destination.
Sports talk, weekend style. You're listening to Fan Sports Saturday.
The offseason's really been marked by a lot of pass rushers getting paid, but also the players that aren't getting paid, most notably Trey Hendrickson and Micah Parsons in Dallas. And Jerry Jones, I don't know the game that he's playing, Tim. I think he knows the game that he's playing, but he keeps kind of making some weird twists and turns to the whole thing. It's Saturday Sports, or Fan Sports Saturday, right here on The Fan. I'm Matt Fontana. He is Tim May. And this week, Jerry Jones goes on a podcast, and he went on, of course, his former Dallas player, Michael Irvin's YouTube channel. And he basically said that if the world knew what he offered Micah Parsons, they would know that Jerry wants him to play for the Cowboys, basically insinuating, and some have said that they offered him a deal to make him the highest paid non-quarterback in the NFL. So obviously surpassing T.J. Watt, who passed Myles Garrett just this past offseason. So the question is, like, well, why isn't this done yet? And now you've got this week Parsons doing the, well, I'm going to scrub every Dallas Cowboys thing from my social media channel and kind of like, listen, I believe that Micah Parsons is upset with Jerry Jones, and I believe that at this moment he probably doesn't want to play for the Dallas Cowboys. I don't know, Tim, I just sit here and I'm like, dude, they're all just, this is going to get worked out. He's going to sign his deal, and he's going to play for the Dallas Cowboys again.
You don't love me anymore. I mean, wow. Who knows what to believe, right? I don't even know the actual, I'm not sure I know the actual numbers of the Micah Parsons situation. Just like with Trey Hendrickson, I'm not sure of exactly the numbers we're talking about of what needs to be guaranteed. Here's the thing. It's really interesting. Like with Trey Hendrickson, for example, he's 31 years old now, or he's going to be 31. I think
going to be 31
by the end of this season. Which, man, he's 40 years younger than me. That's crazy. But the point is, you play and progress as a player until you become a premier player, and now you want to get paid based on that. But now you're going to be 31, and they're looking at your, maybe the denouement of your career. So it's really difficult to argue you're going to be better 4 years from now than you are right now. You understand what I'm saying? You're going to be an older guy. You'll have taken more hits, et cetera. Why should we guarantee you're going to get – well, you you're paying him actually for what he's done in the past, but it's like a give and take kind of situation. I understand where the teams come down, and I actually also understand where the players come down because, they're arguing, well, I was worth more than what you were paying me 2 years ago. That's why I want to get paid now. As far as the Micah Parsons thing, I really don't know the details in terms of if Jerry Jones is correct that he would make him the highest paid non-quarterback. But so what's the bugaboo there, right? I mean, what is the real sticking point? And is it just like with Trey Hendrickson, guaranteed money? And because I think Bobby Carpenter's pointed out on this station before and other places. Whenever you do a contract in the National Football League, because of the things worked out with the NFLPA and stuff, you have to show that you actually have the money for that contract in escrow. I mean, for want of another term, that push come to shove and the world ended tomorrow, that money would be available to that player or definitely through the course of his career. But that money has to be shown as being in some spot. So when you guarantee money, then you're taking away from that little bank account, whatever it is, whatever you want to call it and stuff. So that may be the real sticking point here. But I can understand teams being reluctant to pay just pure guaranteed money as opposed to money down the road once you, in essence, earn it. But then I understand the player wanting it because we all know about football. From one play to the next, it may be your last play. And you feel like you've sacrificed, you've put a lot into it. And so that's what's really coming to a head here. But then the criticism I think Jerry Jones had for Micah Parsons' agent at a point in this process, well, that's really not helping you. Get this thing. And then Micah Parsons, like a little kid going, I'm going to erase everything I've ever been affiliated with the Cowboys. I might as well be an alien.
There's no going back from that, Tim. Now that's the 2025 version of
right, but that's just
sending your high school girlfriend the note
right,
that says you're breaking up.
That's little kid stuff. I'm taking off my favorites list on Facebook or something.
Yeah.
Everybody knows where you played, brother.
Yeah, and it's hard because the guarantee part of it, you're so right, and then it's also I think this is kind of more like the NBA, but it certainly happens in the NFL because everybody used to yell at Tom Brady. They go, Tom Brady took all these cuts, and it's hurting the other quarterbacks, right? Because if Tom signs a huge deal, then that raises the floor of everybody else, and it kind of moves up everybody else on the list to get paid. And I think you look at Micah Parsons and understand that you had in one offseason, 2 record-breaking pass rush deals done with Myles Garrett and then T.J. Watt after him.
Right.
Do you really need to look to Micah Parsons to basically reset that market because it's already been reset? It's already been what, again, the highest paid non-quarterback position now in the NFL. And
right.
I would sit here being in Cleveland and watching Myles and TJ much more than Micah Parsons. I could understand if Jerry Jones sat there and said, well, listen, you haven't done quite as much as some of these other guys have. Now, the thing is, you're new on the scene. You are the young next generation, so to speak, of this, but you don't quite have the accolades that some of these other guys do. And I think about that with Trey Hendrickson because Hendrickson, who the reports are, the Bengals and him are good on the years, and they're good on the average annual of his salary. It's just about the guaranteed money. And I think the age is the biggest factor there.
Right.
And he's got all the stats. He's got the sacks, and he's got this pass rush win rate. And he's got all this other kind of stuff. But, I wonder if the Bengals sit there and say, yeah, between your age, and I just don't think he's on that premier level of T.J. Watt or Myles Garrett. Is that a hang-up between him and
here's the thing, too. I mean, if I'm just reading, things about this and listening to things about this on radio and stuff and television, and also their asking price. See, they're bargaining from 2 ends there. Their asking price for him is almost prohibitive, when it comes to a trade. And so, it's like, okay, why don't you see if you can find a trade? And then, oh, by the way, when somebody calls, well, our asking price is this, because they really ultimately want him playing defensive end for the Bengals in 2025 and 2026 and down the road. So it's like it's kind of a two-edged sword when it comes to even trying to find another team to go to. And so, yeah, it's really an odd dance. And we're talking about monopoly money, but to a certain extent. But, going back to like the Tom Brady restructuring and all that kind of stuff, if you really look at your career long term, you want to be part of a winning team. You want to be part, because you know what? Tom Brady is probably, I don't know this for a fact, he's probably as highly paid, if not more, than any other ex-player out there right now. I mean, doing what he's doing. Peyton Manning's probably right in that same ballpark and stuff. But Tom Brady is making out like a bandit now several years after retiring because of, maybe for one of another term, that sacrifice he made financially. Too bad you didn't get $20 million. You only got 18, so we could get 2 defensive backs. But the bottom line is that, it's always, number one, you got to look out for yourself because financially, but then long term, look out for your reputation because that can pay you dividends down the road. So, but I think it pays off a lot more for a quarterback than it does a defensive end.
Well, and certainly that's I think you're 100%. That was exactly where I was going to go. Is that Micah Parsons, as good as he is, can only do so much on a team and on a field. It's because you need to have the quarterback. And I'll be honest, I don't know where Dak Prescott fits into some of these rankings, and if you feel really confident that you go win a Super Bowl with him. And I think that's another part for Micah Parsons. When he sees Jerry Jones, like CeeDee Lamb is very good. Okay, get him paid. But she threw a lot of money at Ezekiel Elliott. You threw a lot of money at Dak Prescott. Like Zach Martin is now retired. Like,
right.
Micah's going to sit there and say, all these other guys that were all really good, you had no problem paying them. You had no problem. I shouldn't say that because there was some contentious situations with CD and with Dak to get their deals done, but they eventually got it. And Mike is sitting there saying, I just want what these other guys got. They're good. They're premier guys, and they got their money. That's all he's really asking for.
Yeah, and funny, real quick, defensive ends, man, if they make 2 or 3 plays a game, they've had a hell of a game.
Exactly.
You can't say that about a quarterback. He's got to make every play.
Exactly. Well, speaking of the quarterbacks, the Browns had their own quarterback derby this preseason. It ends up coming to Joe Flacco. We will see Flacco play in about 2 hours. 2 hours away from the Browns preseason finale up here in Cleveland as they take on the Rams. We'll talk about that quarterback situation and what are they going to do with Kenny Pickett. And also, eerily quiet on the Quinshon Judkins situation. We got the update over a week ago at this point that he was not going to be charged. Everyone expected him instantly to come in, sign his deal, and be a part of the Cleveland Browns. We've not seen that yet. Are we waiting for something with the NFL? We'll get to all of it right here on The Fan.
We're your radio home for the Buckeyes, Browns, and all the NFL games you can handle. We may have a bit of a football problem. Oh, yeah? The Fan, Ohio sports destination.
Keep your summer fun going in a new Toyota Camry, America's best-selling car. It's all hybrid all the time with available all-wheel drive. Now through September 2nd, get 4.99 APR financing on any new 25 Camry. Or lease a new Camry LE for just $279 a month for 36 months with $36.99 due at signing. With approved credit through TFS. Tax, title, and license extra. Call 1-888-36-TOYOTA for details or go to Toyota.com. Toyota, let's go places.
Hey there, friends. Bo Bishop here. At High Bank Distillery, they believe every pour should tell a story. The Whiskey War spirits tell the story of Prohibition in every sip. Whiskey War was awarded the best blended whiskey in America 3 years running at the San Francisco World Spirits Competition, the largest and most respected spirits competition in the world. Enjoy their naturally recognized spirits distilled right here in Ohio. Stop by your local liquor store or order a bottle direct to your door at sealbacks.com. Drink the best. Forget the rest. Learn more at highbankdistillery.com.
Common Man here for Universal Windows Direct. Are your leaky windows costing you money? Yes, they are. Right now, when you call my guys at Universal Windows Direct, you get payments as low as $99 a month or 12 months with no payments and no interest. Seriously, upgrade your home now and relax until next year. Call now and get a free in-home window and energy assessment. Choose the payment plan that's right for you. 614-502-5220 or go to universalwindowsdirect.com. Like me, you'll be saying, I love my windows.
At Baths R Us, we believe home improvement is life improvement, and that starts with the team who brings your vision to life. Our installers aren't just skilled, they're experts.
This is who we are. This is what we do all day, every day.
Right now, get $1,500 off a shower or tub replacement or $3,000 off a full bathroom remodel. Plus, low to no monthly payments. Call 380-225-BATH to schedule your free estimate or go to bathsrus.com. 380-225-2284. Baths R Us, where dreams soak in.
Tailgate season is here, and if your grill makes you have to duck when you light it, it's time for an upgrade. Billiards Plus carries top-of-the-line grills that you can pass down to your kids and gifts the whole family will enjoy. Family-owned and operated. Billiards Plus on Dublin Center Drive in Dublin.
Here's 3 reasons to buy your Blue Jackets ticket plans for the 25-26 season. 1, pick your seat and pick your games. 2, plans start at just 11 games. 3, flexible payment plans. Act now. Visit BlueJackets.com/tickets.
The dog days are the best days to save at Coughlin Kia, Central Ohio's largest volume Kia dealer. Get 0% financing on any new Kia EV, Sportage, or Sorrento, or 1.9% on a new 25 Seltos or K5. Visit CoughlinKia.com.
Based on January to December 2024 retail sales at all 4 locations. 0% for 48 months equals $20.83 for 1,000 finance. 1.9% for 48 months equals $21.65 for 1,000 finance. All manufacturer incentives to dealer. Prior sales excluded. Dealer financing required. Residency restrictions may apply. See dealer for details. Ends 9/2/25.
Broadcasting from the Lindsay Honda Studios.
Honda makes the cars. Lindsay makes the difference. Visit lindsayhonda.com.
WBNS-FM, HD1 Columbus. The Fan. Sports Center.
And I'm Nate Butterball. College football is back. It's week 0 today, and Farmageddon comes your way at noon as number 22 Iowa State takes on number 17 Kansas State out in Dublin, Ireland. And the NFL, the Browns and Bengals are in preseason action today. The Browns host the Rams at 1. Joe Flacco is expected to make the start. And the Bengals host the Colts also at 1. Joe Burrow and the starters will be sitting out. In baseball last night, the Guardians lost to the Rangers 4-3 on a walk-off RBI double from Jock Peterson. They now sit 4 back in the AL wild card. They'll play again tonight at 7:05. And the Reds dropped game 1 of their series to the Arizona Diamondbacks 6-5 in 11 innings to fall a game and a half back in the NL wild card. They meet up again tonight at 8:10. Catch the action right here on The Fan. And Columbus Crew is here in action tonight at Lower.com Field, taking on the New England Revolution at 7:30. Breaking sports news, what happens to The Fan, Ohio sports destination.
During weekend programming, pants are optional.
Look at my butt!
However, leather chairs may have been a bad choice. You're listening to Fan Sports Saturday.
Week 3 of the NFL preseason wrapping up today. And, of course, the Browns not going to be – well, no, actually the Bengals are not playing it, but the Browns are playing everyone because they've not played their new starter, Joe Flacco, yet. And he'll get the start and play a little bit today. He's Tim May. I'm Matt Fontana with you here on Fan Sports Saturday. We'll dive back into the Buckeyes this hour as well because Greg McElroy, former quarterback, now analyst, he had a really interesting take about where he thinks the Buckeyes are going to go. We'll get to that coming up in about 10 minutes. But, Tim, for the Browns today, they end up going back to, as I dubbed it this week, their cuddly soft blanket. It's just comfortable. It soothes you. And it's Joe Flacco because they know him. They saw him take the team to the playoffs a couple of years ago. But, Tim, I'd be lying to you if I didn't say the way that Shedeur Sanders and Dylan Gabriel played in their 2 preseason games, and I understand it was preseason, it has given me that itch to see the rookies. And it's given me that real want to see them a little bit more. Yeah. And I get why Flacco's going to start. Their start to the season is brutal. They have a 6-game stretch to start. 6 teams that are all vying for the playoffs, really good teams. It's going to be hard. It's going to be really hard.
Yep.
And I don't want the rookie thrown in there, but I guess it's a good situation to be in. The rookies look good. You want that to be the case. And here I am having a little, itch that I can't scratch of wanting them in there. It could have been worse. They could have been really bad, and I'm questioning why they got drafted.
Yeah, but now you kind of know why they got drafted, one way or the other. I mean, I think Dylan Gabriel, like his first interception the other night, was that was on the tight end or whoever it was who pulled his arm. I mean, what's going on here? And I don't know which guy was in the wrong spot. It looked like the wide receiver might have been in the wrong spot there because. But my point is, you got to look all the way through, the veil there and see what really happened. It really wasn't on Dylan Gabriel, but yeah, Shedeur Sanders just totally impressed me, as opposed to totally impressed me with the cool with which he played in that first preseason game and basically directed touchdown drives. I mean, right? And bottom line is that's what you draft guys for at quarterback. That's what you go and get guys out of free agent. You want them to lead you to the end zone, not the field goal position, but the end zone. And so I don't know what the future, bodes. You can't get over the fact Dylan Gabriel's a short guy.
Mm-hmm.
He can't get over that either, ladies and gentlemen. It's not like Tom Cruise. He can't wear, lift shoes, while he's playing quarterback in the National Football League.
Hanging off the side of planes and stuff.
But anybody who's watched him throughout his college career knows this guy rises above. That's a great pun, but he rises above, and for the most part, and makes plays. And he's not short as Doug Flutie, so don't throw that in my face. But he's a hell of a player. But Shedeur, man, I'm telling you, I was impressed by him being thrown out there first and dealing with. And yes, you're right. You're going against bland preseason defenses because nobody's showing anything they've got coming that's going to be new and improved or whatever from a defensive standpoint during the preseason. Because that video is also available to all who want to see it. But the Kenny Pickett thing is the thing that's always been interesting to me because it looked like that's where they wanted to go, but now it doesn't look like that's even, I don't know, it's not even an option, right? I mean, what do you, I mean, you're closer to it than I am. I mean, that's the fly in the ointment as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, 100%, because it is like, Kenny Pickett is the weird thing to me, Tim, because when they traded for him, everybody was screaming at me, oh, they loved Kenny Pickett, and they wanted Kenny Pickett to start, and I said, well, wait a minute. They just did not have any quarterbacks.
Right.
They traded away DTR because they kind of understood he really doesn't have a future in the NFL. I'm sorry to say that. And Deshaun Watson was injured. They had no one.
Right.
So they trade for him because they needed somebody. And they obviously, this is going to sound really bad. I'm sorry, but it's just what I've been saying about it. They obviously don't feel very highly about Kenny Pickett or his ability because they went out and got 3 quarterbacks after him to say that we don't feel confident enough about you. Now, I do believe that his hamstring injury really did hurt him. And obviously, he wasn't even a factor in this quarterback competition. But I guess what I'm trying to say is I believe that he had an inside track to start. I did. But then the injury just completely took it away.
I agree.
So you're right. What do you do with him now where he's sitting here, you try to get him to the practice squad maybe, but then it's also, is he hindering the rookies, which has now become my sole focus to say, I want these guys to get in there because we need to go draft a quarterback next year if these guys aren't it.
That's crazy.
And we need to figure it out. So it was like, is Kenny Pickett just in the way? And the other thing, I talked about it on my show this week, maybe Kenny Pickett doesn't want to be in Cleveland anymore. Maybe he sits here and he says, this quarterback room is too crowded. I have an opportunity to maybe be a backup somewhere else and try to resurrect my career like some of the other guys have done, going to be a backup a la Sam Darnold, crew like that. Maybe Kenny Pickett's ready to move on, too. I don't know.
Yeah, it's. I think here's what you don't know. What was your plan at quarterback? I'm talking about the Browns.
Sure.
And can you come clean and say, yeah, we thought Kenny Pickett was going to be that guy, much maligned. I thought he was a hell of a quarterback in college, but much maligned as a pro in second wind. And then, of course, when it's his moment to really step up and assert himself as the guy, like you said, injury, et cetera, took him out of the race. I mean, he's, it's, the other guys have gone 5 more laps than he has, from the standpoint of preparation, training camp, things like that. And now what do you do with him? Because who would even take him right now, right? I mean, from a trade standpoint or anything like that. So what do you do with this guy? Because he's already cost you some money, right? So I'm not any different than my son Corey, who's a huge Browns fan, huge anything Cleveland fan. I'm not much different from him. It's like, you're just standing there with your kind of mouth agape and your arms up in the air like Joey Bosa going, well, what are you doing? Or in Corey's case, what are we doing? You know what I mean? I mean, and so, but do you sacrifice another year? Do you sacrifice another year bringing a rookie along because you're going to pay the price with a rookie? C.J. Stroud was an aberration to a certain extent for a lot of teams, for a lot of examples. But do you sacrifice another year bringing along a rookie quarterback who, you're not really even sure if that guy's going to be your guy, right? And you aren't even sure which of those 2 guys is your guy. Right? I mean, it's a really, really interesting deal. Whereas the guys you named in the earlier segment there, Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes, Joe Burrow, Lamar Jackson, everybody knows everybody knows who their guy is. Now it's the other guys around them making your team better. But when you start with a quarterback and you still don't know after these many decades who your stud quarterback is, and you're going with Joe Flacco, like you said, the soft pillow you can lean on, because Kevin Stefanski and him have I think they have a pretty good chemistry. I'm talking about Joe Flacco and Stefanski, but Joe Flacco's an older man, and I don't let me keep saying but I think people do know. How long can you lean on that? It's really an interesting conundrum that they put themselves in of their own doing.
And it's also, they need to win because you're coming off a 3-14 season, and not many coaches or GMs keep their job if they go 3-14 back-to-back years.
So this is your answer.
But then you got to spite, it's almost cutting your nose off to spite your face, because you got to win to save our jobs, but then you also tick down the draft board if you really do want to go draft your rookie quarterback. And I've been screaming this, Tim, and obviously this is, I think, just proven over and over again. When you put all your eggs in the basket of tanking and trying to draft a quarterback, it rarely works in the NFL.
Right.
For twofold. Number one, you could draft the number one God's gift of football prospect, and he just doesn't work out, number one. And number two, you are sacrificing then locker room, guys that just don't want to play there anymore. And if you bring a rookie into a team that is not built, that guy could have been the answer, but you could just completely torpedo his career,
right,
if you don't have the right pieces in place around them. So I get it's a delicate dance the Browns are trying to do right now.
Yeah,
and I get where they're at there. You want Flacco to win, you want to move the rookies, but it's also you're staring down the barrel of maybe having to draft one next year too.
And you could say the Browns are a little bit I don't know, hexed, but like for example the Quinshon Judkins situation, as you alluded to, they've got to be sitting there waiting to see what jeopardy he faces from the NFL about this. Because, you can say the charges have gone away. He was charged initially. You know what I mean?
And the NFL can levy punishment without charges.
Correct.
Correct. So that's the other thing I think
which basically, you've the shield, you've tarnished the shield in some form or fashion, even though he wasn't even under contract yet. I don't know how you tarnish something you're not even officially a part of yet. But it's like these are little things you don't want a week before the season starts. Is this is your starting quarterback, but boy, he's an older guy. Is he really going to be the guy? We got rid of him, a couple of years ago or a year and a half ago because we didn't think he was the guy of the future. And all the money they put into the Deshaun Watson deal, speaking of guaranteed money, et cetera, and why that comes back to bite you if things don't work out. All these things, man, they just add up. As former Ohio State coach John Cooper says, it don't catch up with you till it catches up with you. And he's exactly right. This is a great example of that. But to have a conundrum at starting quarterback, even though maybe they don't say they have one because they know who it is, it's Joe Flacco. No, I think we all think we're all wondering what is the plan there, right? I think that's that. And if we're wondering that, I guarantee you the team is wondering that.
And you could have the best laid plans, and sometimes they just don't go your way, or it just doesn't work out. Little backhanded compliment here from Greg McElroy. So obviously, former SEC quarterback. He's part of ESPN in their coverage, and he was on Get Up yesterday, and he tried to explain about Ohio State being number 8 in his preseason rankings, but then gave them a backhanded compliment, if you will. We'll tell you what he had to say. We'll get to all of it right here on The Fan.
We're the girthiest radio station in the history of radio. Uncomfortably girthy. This promo is uncomfortable. The Fan, Ohio's girth destination.
The season may be winding down, but there's still time to make the most of Buckeye Lake. At Buckeye Lake Marina, we have year-end deals on boats, accessories, and more to get you ready for next year's adventures. The Buckeye Lake Marina staff is there to help you find the perfect boat at unbeatable prices. Buckeye Lake Marina has a long list of satisfied customers, and you want to be the next. Don't wait. Sail into savings at Buckeye Lake Marina before the year ends and find the boat that's just right for you. Visit BuckeyeLakeMarina.com for more.
Imagine what it would feel like getting tackled head-on by a 240-pound linebacker. You'd be in serious pain, right? But if you're unbuckled in a car crash at just 50 miles an hour, you become a deadly projectile that can slam into other passengers with 8 times that amount of force. Don't let someone else take the hit. Buckle up and visit buckleup.ohio.gov to learn more. Brought to you by ODOT and ODPS.
Got one of those days that never stops? Try a stop at Speedway. Refresh your fuel tank, refresh your U-tank with 69-cent large Big Gulp drinks. And refresh the vibe for any drive. Refresh at Speedway with 69-cent large Big Gulp drinks with Speedy Rewards and try exclusive Mountain Dew Infinite Swirl flavor for a limited time only. The convenience stores of Speedway. Valid through 8/26/25. See app for full terms.
I can't wait to meet her. Oh my gosh.
Put your hands together for new Dr. Pepper Blackberry and Dr. Pepper Blackberry Zero Sugar.
There she is! Woohoo! Yeah! It's full Dr. Pepper!
With sweet blackberry flavor!
Dr. Pepper Blackberry, I'm obsessed with your succulent taste. Please marry me!
No! Marry me! Marry me, or I'm gonna freak out!
Try new Dr. Pepper Blackberry.
It's a pepper thing!
Road trip! This summer at Tire Discounters, your tires are your passport to savings, because you're driving to Paris,
Texas,
then it's off to Rome,
Georgia,
and you'll be kissing the Blarney Stone in Dublin,
Ohio!
Right now, save up to $404 when you buy 4 tires, and that includes a free alignment and oil change. Stop at Tire Discounters before you see the world.
At Dick's Sporting Goods, we have always believed sport has the power to change lives. Community happens here. Change happens here. Sport happens here. Introducing the all-new Dick's House of Sport. Bringing new experiences, new services, and unrivaled selection from the top brands to a new place Polaris can call home. Featuring a rock wall, a HitTrax multi-sport cage, and 3 golf hitting bays. Dick's House of Sport. Now open at Polaris Fashion Place.
All your favorite fan shows are on YouTube, along with those fake YouTube ads like chew this gum and it grows new teeth. Experience the splendor of Bo sitting in his closet, Timmy Hall's gouty gold chains, and Matty Ice wearing a coat in 90-degree weather. It's all there. Head to YouTube and subscribe today.
The dog days are the best days to save at Coughlin Kia, Central Ohio's largest volume Kia dealer. Get 0% financing on any new Kia EV, Sportage, or Sorrento, or 1.9% on a new 25 Seltos or K5. Visit CoughlinKia.com.
Based on January to December 2024 retail sales at all 4 locations. 0% for 48 months equals $20.83 per 1,000 finance. 1.9% for 48 months equals $21.65 per 1,000 finance. All manufacturer incentives to dealer. Prior sales excluded. Dealer financing required. Residency restrictions may apply. See dealer for details. Ends 9/2/25.
Hugs from patients, like Patrick. It's something QC Kinetics medical professionals experience every day.
I hugged them. You should hug somebody who does that for you. They gave me my life back, and I really didn't know where I was going to go because I was definitely afraid of having a knee replacement done.
No surgery, no downtime with QC Kinetics regenerative treatments. They give patients relief from joint pain using their own healing properties to repair and restore damaged tissue. And the results? Well, that's why we see a lot of hugs at QC Kinetics.
Everything is back that I thought I was never going to be able to do again. I'm still smiling, and sometimes it gets emotional. I get a tear in my eye because of how I was before I went in there.
Those smiles and hugs never get old at QC Kinetics. It means patients are finally getting relief. And now, it's your turn. Call QC Kinetics today for your complimentary consultation and see if you're a good candidate for these amazing treatments.
Call QC Kinetics, 380-208-4544. That's 380-208-4544. 380-208-4544.
The Ohio Lottery's Powerball jackpot is up to at least $700 million. That's $700 million. It's the biggest advertised Powerball jackpot this year. With drawings every Monday, Wednesday, and Saturday, Powerball jackpots grow faster, and they're bigger than ever. Play today.
Check it.
And don't forget to pick up a cash word scratch-off while you're at it to extend the fun. With tickets from $2 to $30, there's a cash word for everyone. Lottery players are subject to Ohio laws and commission regulations. Play responsibly.
Fan weather.
From the Logan AC and Heat Services Weather Center.
Partly cloudy with highs in the mid-80s. We keep a partly cloudy sky overnight tonight with lows dipping back into the mid-60s for Sunday morning. And then by Sunday afternoon, mostly sunny but a bit cooler than Saturday with highs in the low 80s. I'm meteorologist Mike Joyce on 97.1 The Fan.
The Big Nine was a sad, incomplete place. Enter Ohio State. The rest is history. The Buckeye Show.
Weeknights at 6.
The Fan. Live, local, and still slightly drunk.
I'm not drunk, all right? I just have a speech impediment.
This is Fan Sports Saturday.
Well, we do have preseason football today. We've got top 25 college football, Tim May. So I'm sure there's some people out there already enjoying their Saturday one way or another, and we're happy to be a part of it right here on Fan Sports Saturday. I am Matt Fontana alongside the incomparable one and only Tim May. So this is a little bit of a backhanded compliment from Greg McElroy. So, of course, a former Alabama quarterback. He's at ESPN now as a college football analyst, and he was on Get Up yesterday. And they brought up, why do you have Ohio State at number 8 of your preseason rankings? So, of course, the Buckeyes are number 2 in the the coaches poll. They're number 3 in the AP poll. And Greg McElroy comes out, Clemson 1, which just tells me that he's out for clicks. Mm-hmm. Penn State 2, Notre Dame 3, Texas 4, Alabama 5, Georgia 6, LSU 7, and then the Buckeyes all the way down there at 8. So I bring it up just to give a little context to what Greg is talking about here. And Timmy tried to defend himself by saying, well, Ohio State lost a lot. And he points to not just the players on the field, but Jim Knowles and some of the changes at the coordinator position with Chip Kelly moving back to the NFL. And I kind of understand what he's getting to, because then he comes to his backhanded compliment where he says, but he believes Ohio State will be playing as well as anyone by the end of the season. Mm-hmm. So he's trying to paint this picture that once they get the newer players up to speed, once they get the coordinators and the system that they kind of want implemented, that they'll be cooking by the end of the year. And it's I thought about that. I'm like, yeah, I'd always rather win a national championship. Trust me, I want to beat Texas bad, but I'd rather win a national championship. And it's I hate to say it, I kind of understand what McElroy's getting at here.
I don't think you have to hate to say it. I mean, you totally understand what he's talking about. And then you look at almost every team he's got ahead of Ohio State has an established quarterback returning. Or you're like Texas. Everybody knew who the quarterback was going to be, and has started a couple of games for him in Arch Manning. But there are a lot of new pieces on Ohio State that have to come together and play well right from the jump. I keep going back to this. I'd rather see this game the end of October than the end of August because I think this could be a hell of a football game of two teams that are going to get better as the year goes on. And, of course, left unsaid about Texas is they're replacing 12 guys who got drafted. Mm-hmm. So 12 or 14, take your pick. They've got some big holes to fill in the defensive front. Their offensive line has been, was – in essence, is almost totally rebuilt. I'm talking about Texas. And the way you can counter a rebuilt offensive line is just give them way too much to think about, which I'm sure Matt Patricia, the defensive coordinator, the new defensive coordinator at Ohio State, and that defensive staff are going to try to do with Texas and Arch Manning from the get-go. So there are all kinds of ways to rob Peter to pay Paul in a situation like this for Ohio State early. But, barring catastrophe, this is going to be a much better Ohio State team, like Greg McElroy said, in November than it is at the end of August, just because these parts will have played together. The engine will become more apparent. The strength of the engine will become more apparent as the season goes along. And, of course, Ohio State can take care of business, with a couple of those teams, including Texas, and prove people wrong. But I understand where you can make a justification for almost anything you say in preseason, right? And I'm just sitting there the other day, and we're talking to players about how good this guy is on their team. I'm talking about Ohio State and how good that guy is. Guys you haven't really seen play much, if at all. And but it's all word, it's all word salad until you get to the season. And that's why I really think it would serve everybody well if you played 2 games a month starting in June, instead of throwing everything into the crock pot, the beginning of September, give us glimpses of what's going on, and play a 12-game season over like 5 months, and see how it goes. So I'm telling you, the furor would definitely be there, if not more, in that kind of situation. But like you said, Ohio State has some unproven parts. The most unproven is at quarterback. And, boy, if he gets it going, if Julian Sayin plays well, and I'm not talking about he has to be flawless, perfect, or even flawless right out of the gate. But if he improves like C.J. Stroud did from the first half to the second half of that opener at Minnesota, those many years ago, then, kind of look out.
Yeah, and I get where McElroy, to your point, Tim, is like, okay, Clemson, he likes Cade Klubnik. He likes Drew Aller at Penn State. He's going to go with Nussmeier and LSU. But it's like, he put Alabama up there. There was a lot of discussion about Ty Simpson this week where people go, he really didn't win that job.
Right.
Like, C.J. Carr is going to start at Notre Dame. We haven't really seen him play.
That's what I said. Almost every one of those, but not all of them.
But not all of them, right? That's like
starting quarterback. Yeah.
And that's sort of like I get I get where Greg McElroy, he's got to make headlines and he wants to bring this kind of stuff up, but it's like, yeah, I think he is talking out of both sides of his mouth a little bit. Where if you want to take the body of work too and just take the quarterbacks out of it, yeah, Ohio State lost a lot, but we discussed a lot about the offensive line. They still have the best receiving core in college football. Like running back remains to be seen, which we'll figure that out as the season goes on. But yeah, and again,
the defensive tackle, defense. I think they were really good across the board on defense, except I have a question mark about depth at defensive tackle still. They've, like I said about the word salad, supposedly, for example, Will Smith Jr. has made tremendous strides over the last several months, and definitely this past month in preseason camp, as adding depth to that defensive tackle spot. And then there are other guys who have also stepped up. But until you see it, there are some doubts there. But that's the way it is with almost every team in college football. Every team in college football is replacing somebody. And then you go back to those quarterbacks you just named. They've, for want of another term, they've been slight underachievers for a couple of years for their respective teams. Now, all of a sudden, they're going to put it all together. I still want to see Garrett Nussmeier play up to that level. Drew Aller play up to that level against big-time competition. Cade Klubnik, same thing. Cade Klubnik, they won a game last year over SMU, an upstart, which otherwise, what would we be saying about Clemson right now if they hadn't won that ACC championship game? What would we really be thinking about Clemson? So, that's everybody's got their doubts.
Well, and that's the thing. We sit here today. There's no starting quarterbacks that have won national championships out there anymore. None of these guys have gotten there or done it yet.
Correct.
And it doesn't mean that you're actually, to your point, it doesn't mean that they're not going to be good, but that means they're all in the same spot. Okay, Garrett Nussmeier's played a lot. He still doesn't have a national championship, just like Julian Sand doesn't have a national championship. So I get where the preseason is going to figure out. You try to jockey for those types of positions, and that's the hard thing for next week. I am so excited and so jacked, but Tim, you're so right. I'd rather see that game in October, and I got to remember that as good or bad as it goes next Saturday, that's not the Ohio State team that I'm going to see come November. That's not the team that I feel like is going to make a legit run at another national championship. It's going to be different.
And here's another thing to look about. I mean, everybody's on the Alabama bandwagon now suddenly. This is going to be the team. They were number one in the country last year until they got beat by Vanderbilt. Yeah, you follow my drift?
Yeah.
And then they got owned by Oklahoma, a very mediocre football team. And now you're telling me that the ingredients were there for a national championship contender, much less the end of last year, but going into this year more so than they are at Ohio State or Texas. A lot of people are really on this Alabama bandwagon. I'm going, like you just pointed out, they may have a compromised guy at quarterback. So I'm looking all the way through that, and everybody knows I grew up an Alabama fan. My baby brother, who's 68, still lives and dies with Alabama football, but I'm not sold that Alabama is the team of 2025 like there are some people down the South want you to think. Georgia has its own, I think, questions to answer, but it's going to be a solid program just based on how they've recruited. But there are all kinds of questions about every team when you really start breaking it down.
Yeah, and the thing is, it's going to change no matter what. The team that you have week one, and especially in college, right? That preseason depth chart where you're like, all right, where does this player fix in? Or, okay, we're going to start maybe the more veteran players, and then you have some freshmen that show up. That's just the evolution of college football, which I think is one of the most fun things.
Well, the great thing about college football now, the great thing about college football now is you can lose a game or two and still make the playoffs.
Correct, that too. Ohio, we feel. I don't want to get too ahead of myself. Experiment. Here, knock on this wood right over here, but Ohio State's going to make it.
Yeah, you can bring a guy along. Later in the year. That's a luxury you have now that you didn't have even 2 years ago.
Yeah. Well, we got to get to this. Another former Ohio State coach. He's in the NFL now. He's in the news for seeking out some rats. Mike Vrabel, very upset with somebody leaking out information from the Patriots, and he put it out that he's going to find out who it is. We'll discuss that in 2 minutes right here on The Fan.
Hi, I'm Rick Germain, and it's the Toyota National Sales Event all month long at Toyota West. With over 600 new and pre-owned vehicles available, Toyota West at I-270 and Georgesville Road has the car you're looking for. And right now at Toyota West, take advantage of no payments for 90 days, and every pre-owned vehicle comes with a 72-hour exchange policy plus a 3-month warranty for qualified vehicles. Come see us at the Germain Auto Mall on Georgesville Road or get started today at ToyotaWest.com. No payments for 90 days. Deferred payment. Interest accrued at time of inception with approved credit. Expires 8/31.
The trash talk, the bad trade requests, the horrible reaches on draft picks. It's fantasy football time, and the ESPN Bet Sportsbook at Hollywood Casino Columbus is giving you a chance to hold your fantasy draft in a fantasy location. On August 24th, host your fantasy draft party at the ESPN Bet Sportsbook, which will include a $100 dining credit, draft board, and swag. Visit 971thefan.com and sign up for your fantasy draft party package. Must be 21 years or older. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER for help.
People can't say enough amazing things about Vanscoy Hair Clinics. Men and women struggle with hair loss every day, and they completely change their lives. Vanscoy Hair Clinics is the only company in Ohio that has PRP, platelet-rich plasma, and the multi-unit hair grafting hair transplant procedure. Go to vanscoyhair.com for more info or call 614-432-8042. Here's what some of their hair transplant clients have said.
Around 26, 27, I lost almost all of my hair on top. It changed my life in ways that I could not imagine.
My hair is going to continue growing for the rest of my life. There is hope that you can do something about your hair loss.
Multi-unit hair grafting gives you 3 times more hair per procedure, saving you time and money. Hair transplants are more affordable than ever, and PRP is a fast, easy, and effective 45-minute treatment for thinning or damaged hair. Call Vanscoy for a free consultation, 614-432-8042, or visit vanscoyhair.com. That's 614-432-8042. Find out what procedure will restore your hair.
An encyclopedic knowledge of sports and other random things you may or may not care about.
I think I found my mentor.
Rockman and Ice.
Weekdays from noon to 3.
The Fan. Garnish your Bloody Mary with sports talk. You're listening to Fan Sports Saturday.
So Mike Vrabel, a guy that's not afraid to speak his mind, and I think there's probably a few people, Tim May, that are a little nervous in that Patriots organization because he vowed to find the rats. We'll talk about it right here, Fan Sports Saturday. He is Tim May. I'm Matt Fontana. So there was a story out about it was Jalen Polk, excuse me. And there's a report out that he's going to miss the entire 2025 season due to a shoulder injury. So Vrabel was asked about it after their preseason game, and he said no to the question. He said, other than I'd like to find out where some of these reports are coming from, some of the rats around here, so we'll figure that out. And I thought this was such an interesting story because obviously we know Vrabel well, former Buckeye, former coach. He was up with the Browns last year. And I do think he is going to turn the Patriots around. I think he's a really good coach and a really good hire there. And this is just a step towards like that culture that he wants to set where he's basically calling out in the media. He doesn't know who it is yet, but he's calling somebody out in the media to say, yeah, your job is in jeopardy here. Because if I find out who it is that is leaking this information, which also tells me that it's probably true that Jalen Polk is going to miss the season with his shoulder injury, Vrabel's out there and he doesn't care who knows it. He's not going to stand for these types of leaks.
Yeah, but what if the leak? What if the information came from Julian Polk's family or a close associate and stuff like that? I mean, which is where a lot of this stuff comes from anymore, or even his agent. There are all kinds of places you can look for the rat. The bottom line is be forthcoming about things. I'm not sure how, if in fact it's inaccurate. That's a total different story, right? Yeah, and I'm trying to look when I've watched this answer. I'm trying to see whether Vrabel, when he first says no, whether that means the fact that that's inaccurate. The report.
He declined to confirm it.
Correct.
Basically, so it's like the question was, is he going to miss the season?
But the point is, if he is going to miss the season, what good does that do you in any form or fashion to keep it secret? I mean, it doesn't do. If the young man knows he's missing the season, and he's missing the season, then who are you protecting or who are you worried about? I mean, it's it's not like. Well, I was going to say I wasn't going to name a name there because anybody in that regard is valuable to you one way or the other. But I just I've never liked it. I mean, we've all had sources in our lives, and many times I've been asked to give up a source or whatever. And I've never given up a source. Period. Closest I came was one time. I'm not even going to get into it, and I said no, I'm not going to do that because. If you want to fire me because I don't give up my sources, that's your problem. But the bottom line is you don't give up sources if they're accurate. The one thing about the modern day sourcing, though, is like Mac Brown had this problem when he was at Texas. It was just before I went down there to spend a few days at Texas back in 2005 when the internet was really hitting its stride and Twitter or social media was hitting its stride, and there was a player who got hurt during a practice, which the media got to attend, and somebody tweeted out, like I think a picture, might not have even been Twitter, but put out on social media a picture of the player down on the field and saying what they looked like the injury was, and that player's parents saw that, and that's the first thing they knew about it was this immediate reporting. Before the Texas officials had even had a chance to call them, hadn't even come off the field yet, right?
Yeah.
And you've got to be smart about it when you're a reporter too about how you handle things. But it's free game right now. I mean, if Polk is gone for the year, just step up and say Polk's gone for the year. But you know what? I don't appreciate whoever leaked that out before I let people know about it, and then you go about your business. But you don't make it. Still muddied on whether he's gone for the year or not. You go, well, yeah, that's accurate, but I'm very upset that somebody put that out there before we as a team were able to announce it. I mean, that's the way you handle it. I don't think the way Vrabel handled it was necessarily the correct way of going at it, but of course I'm looking at it from the media perspective.
I wonder if this is kind of Vrabel having this opportunity to set that culture a little bit. Where is this the end of the world big type of situation? Like, no, if Jalen Polk is out for the year, to your point, Tim, that's going to be found out pretty soon. I wonder if this is Vrabel trying to put his thumb print on something and say, hey,
well, sure it is.
We're going to use this as the example to say this is not how it's going to go. But obviously, like you said, Tim, and you've been doing this, long enough to there is no such thing as an airtight ship anymore when it comes to sports.
There never has been really, but definitely not now. And and then on top of it, I mean, but then you see NFL films, or film things all inside everything, like Vrabel laying down the law to his team about the cell phones or about being early for being there on time for team meetings and things like that. I mean that's inside info, that's right out there for anybody to watch. I mean I'm watching this Jerry Jones. Well, I'm done watching that Jerry Jones series, and all of the inside video they had of him in some real critical moments with the Cowboys, coming up and through and stuff. It's really kind of amazing. And some guys like having that chronicled they get it. They understand that later people are going to be asking, what about this, that, and the other? If you see yourself as an icon like Jerry Jones clearly has since he was a little kid, you like having that, being able to go to that library and go, well, this is the way it really went down, right? And so I don't know. I think the more forthright you are with people, the less you have chances of leaks being a problem, because information is information.
And there is you're right, there's just some things that it's either this way or not. The spin now, which I know a lot of organizations, that's when you hear the same report, but it's different between two different reporters, right? And sometimes I think probably more on the NFL side of things, but can happen in the NBA and other sports. But a lot of times where it's the same piece of information, but it's portrayed differently, or there are different kind of nuances on how you want to absorb that information or take that information in.
Hey, when Ohio State teams are fighting, when Ohio State was looking for his next coach way back in, what was that, 2001, after the season, and the greatest thing that ever happened in that whole coaching search was a rumor that got started that they were looking at John Gruden and offering him this amount of money. This was from a longtime NFL reporter. And then another longtime NFL reporter picked that up and said, no, they're looking at John Gruden, but they're looking at him for this amount of money. I'm just going to say $6.5 million, okay? Sure. Just throw a number out there. Mm-hmm. And then another longtime NFL reporter said, well, no, they're looking at John Gruden. They've been in contact with him, and he's being offered this much money, and he's on a plane flying to Columbus. And then you find out they did make an inquiry about John Gruden. He wasn't interested. I think he was with the Raiders then. I can't remember. And that, no, he wasn't on a plane to Columbus. Meanwhile, your boss, like my boss, is calling me going, well, how come we're not reporting? I said, because the way I understand it, this is BS.
Yeah, it's not true.
And so, that's the thing you run, especially in modern times. Somebody reports something. And but my point was those guys were just taking what the other guy said and enhancing it and really kind of making stuff up as they went, which is hard to fathom, but it definitely happens. And that's like with the injuries right now. Ryan Day is reluctant to tell us anything about injuries and stuff, but eventually you find out who's playing or not. I asked Donovan Jackson to his face the week before the opener last year whether he was going to play or not. We'd heard he'd been banged up shoulder-wise, I think, or something in practice, and he just kind of looked at me funny, and just kind of didn't confirm it or whatever. And, and if I remember correctly, he didn't play in the opener because of an injury and things. So, you get information from all kinds of different ways, but then you still have to vet it, right? And that's what everybody runs into. But like I said, if this information is true about Polk, then just say, yeah. But you know what? I don't appreciate this coming out until we announce it. And, you lay down the groundwork there and you do your little inside investigation on how this came out, but you don't throw everybody under the bus and deny it, I guess is my point.
Yeah, and it's also like letting everybody know about it now. You've kind of, wouldn't you want to go silently and try to figure out exactly what was found out or what was said?
Correct.
If you're really trying to kind of plug up a hole that's
we're coming after you. Yeah.
Yeah, right. That's the thing. It's like you're not going to be able to do it all. If Rabel could sit there and go through everybody and be like, give me your phones, give me your email, and all that.
Hey, real quick, Matt, before we finish, here's the other thing you find out pretty quick, though, when you're a head coach or whatever in an organization. Not everybody in that organization is exactly on the same ship you are.
Sure.
And but then number two, there are people, who are looking out for the betterment of everybody a lot of times when in fact that may not be the case by everybody involved. So, it is what it is in anything that's a human endeavor.
Well, speaking of some of the other things about leaks and things getting out, there's a little bit of a leak about the recruitment of Arch Manning. So Seth Wickersham, who's got, he does a lot of investigative stuff and he's done a lot of big pieces. He talked about an interesting piece of Arch Manning's recruiting. And I want to bring it up to Tim because obviously he's covered Ohio State for a long time. He's seen a lot of recruiting. But I think this also sheds a little light on some of the dark side of recruiting, specifically when it comes to college football. So again, it's all of it. We got it coming up right here on The Fan.
A lot has changed in 30 years, but we're still that old shoe that feels worn in and well-loved. And, we smell a little, but you've accepted that. The Fan.
Hi, welcome to IKEA. Hi, I'm in a whirlwind of college prep. Gotcha. We've got affordable solutions to create the perfect college living space. Great. And visit our website to see how verified college students with an IKEA family account can receive a one-time use 15% off coupon. Nice. You guys think of everything. Pretty much. Offer ends 9/30/25. Valid ID required. Discount applied proportionally across items purchased as shown on receipt. See IKEA-USA.com/ready-for-college for complete terms.
The season may be winding down, but there's still time to make the most of Buckeye Lake. At Buckeye Lake Marina, we have year-end deals on boats, accessories, and more to get you ready for next year's adventures. The Buckeye Lake Marina staff is there to help you find the perfect boat at unbeatable prices. Buckeye Lake Marina has a long list of satisfied customers, and you want to be the next. Don't wait. Sail into savings at Buckeye Lake Marina before the year ends and find the boat that's just right for you. Visit BuckeyeLakeMarina.com for more.
Dear McDonald's, your breakfast menu? Fire. 10s across the board. I could be happy with anything, even though I order the same thing every time. Thanks for not judging me. I'll try something new next time. Maybe.
For a limited time, you can enjoy a savory sausage McMuffin with egg meal, including golden hash browns and a small hot coffee for just $5. Price and participation may vary.
Ba-da-ba-ba-ba.
Common Man here. Our friends at Care Heating and Cooling in Lenox are feeling the love. They're doing something extraordinary for Central Ohio families. The Lenox Feel the Love program provides deserving families and individuals with indoor heating and cooling equipment as well as installation at no cost. You can nominate someone who you think is deserving at feelthelove.com. Nominations be accepted through August 31st. Let's give back to our hometown heroes. Selfless neighbor, maybe who always puts everybody first. Community leaders like teachers, firefighters, and volunteers, or just families facing hard times. Whoever you think is worthy, send a nomination. As of 2024, the Feel the Love program has completed more than 350 installations with help of dealers like Care Heating and Cooling. Our friends at Lenox donate all the equipment, and Care donates the labor and materials, and the installs are done at no cost. Remember, the deadline is August 31st. Care Heating and Cooling. Call 1-800-COOLING or book an appointment online at careheatingandcooling.com when you need a company you can trust.
Columbus, the Blue Jackets schedule is out. And you can lock in your seats with ticket plans starting at just 11 games. Don't miss a moment of the action. Visit BlueJackets.com. Tailgate season is here, and if your grill makes you have to duck when you light it, it's time for an upgrade. Billiards Plus carries top-of-the-line grills that you can pass down to your kids and gifts the whole family will enjoy. Family owned and operated. Billiards Plus on Dublin Center Drive in Dublin.
All your favorite and least favorite fan shows are available wherever you get your podcasts. Just type in 971 The Fan to the search bar and hit that subscribe button. It's free.
We're the land of the free and the home of the sunburnt, freckled fat guy.
Do it now.
We can come the day you call us.
We're 1-800-GOT-JUNK.
We make junk disappear. All you have to do is point.
Brian, I've been meaning to ask you something.
Okay, ask away.
Sometimes when we're talking, I hear a little sparkling sound.
Is it when one of us says, all you have to do is point?
There it is. Did you hear that?
That's the sound of magic happening.
Magic? Like we can come the day you call us? Wow.
Call 1-800-GOT-JUNK or visit 1-800-GOT-JUNK.com.
Save big on everything for your next project when you shop at Menards. Get the long-lasting power you need with Energizer. Menards has the largest in-stock selection of Energizer batteries. They provide solid power for flashlights, remotes, and so much more. Right now, save big on Energizer batteries. Plus, check out our weekly flyer on Menards.com for more great deals happening this week.
Save big money at Menards.
Hi, I'm Rick Germain, and it's the Toyota National Sales Event all month long at Toyota West. With over 600 new and pre-owned vehicles available, Toyota West at I-270 and Georgesville Road has the car you're looking for. And right now at Toyota West, take advantage of no payments for 90 days, and every pre-owned vehicle comes with a 72-hour exchange policy plus a 3-month warranty for qualified vehicles. Come see us at the Germain Auto Mall on Georgesville Road or get started today at ToyotaWest.com. No payments for 90 days, deferred payment, interest accrues at time of inception with approved credit, expires 8/31.
You think you know the odds? Picture this. You're at the gas station grabbing 4 delicious taquitos when you see an Ohio Lottery ticket with 1 in 4 odds. You think, if I buy 4 in a row, 1's a definite win. Sorry, friend, but you'd be wrong. 1 in 4 odds means across the millions of tickets printed, 1 in every 4 is a winner, but not every 4th ticket since they're randomly distributed across the state. But 4 taquitos? That's a guaranteed win, 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 win. Learn more about common lottery myths at ohiolottery.com/knowtheodds. Lottery players are subject to Ohio laws and commission regulations. Play responsibly.
Want to know anything about the fans contest, how to win, or what's up for grabs? Check out 971thefan.com. The Fan, Ohio's sports destination.
We firmly believe it's appropriate to tailgate before a youth soccer game. You're listening to Fan Sports Saturday.
Oh, it is that season. We got soccer, we got football going on, high school starting last night. The only thing we're missing, I'm Matt Fontana, he's Tim May here on The Fan. Tim, the only thing I'm missing is just that crisp. And I don't want to wish away the nice weather. I don't want to wish away the 70s and the 80s temperatures. But when we first get that little dip into the 50s and you get that little crisp, that is the fall season for soccer and football and all the fun right there.
Amen. I do want to wish away forever any 90s and above weather. I mean, yeah. July was tough, man.
Yeah,
Matter of fact, my middle kid, Corey, got married to Lizzie now, Liz May. But you got married on July 28th, I think it was, wherever it was in Bucyrus, Ohio, and it was really hot and humid those days leading up to that. But yeah, I do wish away that because I don't think anybody likes sweating and swinging a golf club that much. But yes, the fall, man, the fall has always done it for me. That's why I stayed north when I moved up here in '76. Everybody wants to know, why did you move back to Texas or south? And I go, because I like it. I like 4 seasons. I'm not sure we get 4 seasons anymore, but we get like maybe 3 1/4 or something like that. But but yes, when the weather turns and I call it God's air conditioning. We had a little bit of that earlier this week, and you don't get that down in East Texas where I grew up until like October.
No, it'll be here before you know it. Well, I'll be sitting back and enjoying some college football. All of it. We got it for you. This was an interesting story. I wanted to bring it up because, Tim, you're the perfect person to just kind of discuss about the recruiting side of college football, because we all sit here as diehard Ohio State fans like we are, or people that cover the team, and recruiting is your lifeblood. You want your team to be successful. You want a head coach to be successful. You have got to recruit on the highest level. And Ohio State has certainly turned into a bit of a machine where, listen, they lose recruits, and I know there's some news that this week that they lose out on recruits. That happens. But anybody that is a college football, or excuse me, a high school football star, and they have a letter from Ohio State, they're going to consider, outside of being, again, a diehard Michigan fan or, having family that goes to some other school. Like, when certain schools call, Alabama, Clemson, Michigan, Ohio State, like, you're taken seriously, you've got a seat at the table. But there was a discussion this week from Seth Wickersham, who joined Pablo Torre on his podcast, and he told a story about the recruitment of Arch Manning. So everybody knew Arch Manning and how big it was going to be, and Ohio State was in for a quick second on him. But as it came down to it, Alabama was really into him. We knew Texas and all that. And Wickersham told a story that Pete Golding, who was Alabama's defensive coordinator, and he's now at Ole Miss and he's there. But apparently Seth said that Pete was given the task by Nick Saban to get Arch Manning to come to Tuscaloosa. He was going to be a Crimson Tide. That was Pete Golding's number one job, was to recruit Arch Manning and get him to come to Alabama. So apparently there's a video, a Zoom call, Pete Golding, Arch Manning, Cooper Manning, who's Arch's father, and then Nelson Stewart, who was Arch Manning's head coach in high school. And they're on this Zoom call, and they're talking about some things. And apparently Pete Golding, who is very good friends with Steve Sarkisian, the head coach at Texas, brought up his sobriety and said a line of, quote, "I hope he can stay sober." And I think most people know, but if you don't, Steve Sarkisian has battled alcoholism in the past. He was at Washington, USC, and there was a time that he basically was going to lose his career, was not going to be able to coach college football anymore because he battled alcoholism. It sounds like he's in a much better place, and he's been able to kind of, I don't want to say move past it because you never do, but be able to control those demons. So to hear that, and then apparently even Nelson Stewart, the head coach, went back to Golding after and said, dude, that's so messed up. You can't be saying that. But I just thought it brought a light to the dark side of recruiting, where it is the most important thing about college football and just how, frankly, dirty it can be. And then you've got these high school kids who are just sitting there going, wait, what did I just hear? And they get caught up in it. I mean, Tim, it really is a dark side to college football that I don't think gets talked about enough.
Yeah, but where did Arch Manning end up going, right?
Yeah, he
number
still ended
one.
up going to Texas, right?
Yeah, exactly. Number two, yeah, I mean, there are different levels of how that goes down and stuff. I mean, I know that, it's pretty obvious that opposing schools, for example, recently have held it against Larry Johnson in Ohio State, because Larry Johnson, I think he's older than me, but Larry Johnson, for example, defensive line coach at Ohio State, when it's come to recruiting, Larry Johnson, I think, is still as good as, if not better than he's ever been. Physically, he looks younger than he did 5-7 years ago because he's lost a lot of weight. He's been, you understand what I'm saying? I mean,
yeah, sure, right.
And he still, clearly, if you ever sit in and hear him make a presentation to other coaches about defensive line play, the get after it aspects and stuff, there's no one I've ever met more fiery than he is behind the scenes. He's a guy who does not curse on a football practice field or playing field or behind the scenes. That's ridiculous now when you watch all these videos of camps and everything going on, and yet you try to find that one thing that's going to get somebody's attention, and more the thing that gets people's attention is what you're going to get from an NIL revenue sharing standpoint. Mm-hmm. That's what really gets your attention when it comes to, quote, negative recruiting and stuff. But yeah, it's always been gloves off in a lot of aspects of recruiting. The way I understand it about Ohio State, and this isn't Pollyanna, but Ohio State is always, almost to a fault, only recruited from the standpoint of what Ohio State can do for you.
Yeah.
And not necessarily, because if you sell it the correct way, then that's going to rule the day. And the point is, if you are a player who can be swayed by the negative recruiting aspect of things, more and more programs don't want you. I mean, they want bona fide, big time individuals who, by the way, prerequisite is you can play football at a very high level, but they want, for want of another term, good citizens. And Ohio State, I'm telling you, man, the last several years, the Ohio State roster, and you can owe it to anybody, but Mark Pantoni and his group have done a great job of filtering who they're going after. Ohio State's now general manager, Ryan Day especially, but even before that, Urban Meyer, and then before that, Jim Tressel. And then before that, John Cooper. John Cooper just trying to get Ohio State established as a national recruiting presence again when he took over, and he did do that. But now, you talk to some of these young fellas, young men, in interview situations, the way they handle themselves, the way they even have an idea of what to say and what not to say, but some of them are still very forthcoming, but in an entertaining way. Brandon Ennis is one of the great interviews you can ever have. When you sit and talk to him, for example. I'm just give you examples. Ohio State has gone after a class of player and individual, which I think is the best it's ever had at Ohio State over the last many years. And it pays off for you in like late November when things don't go great for you in the game, how that team came together instead of exploding. It came together. It was the opposite of a grenade. And then laid waste to the college football landscape the last 4 games of the season and won the national championship. And so you end up getting the quality guy that you're searching. It can pay dividends for you 3 years later. Or when you're in the recruiting, in the transfer portal, if you do your homework, you don't just take any Tom, Dick, or Harry out there. You go for that guy that you know is going to add to your culture. For one of another term, I know it's used a lot, but it's true. You go for the guy that's going to add to your culture, not take away from it, just for the sake that he can run faster than the other guy. And Arch Manning, good for him, man. Yeah. He went to the right place, because if pressure was being put on Golding to get him any way, any form or fashion, then that's too bad. That's part of a Nick Saban legacy that maybe Nick has to live with. But if you put that kind of pressure on a coach to go out and get him or else, well, that's too bad.
It is, and that's the thing. It's Alabama, too. When some team's trying to come up, this is Alabama, who has a lot of good recruits, and I do think you hit on such a great point.
Who did Alabama sign the next year, I think? I think his name was Julian Sayin, right?
So. Right, yeah, and look at where Julian Sayin is now. And that's the power of Ohio State, and there's so much credit goes to Jim Tressel, and even to a point Luke Fickell, but then Urban Meyer and Ryan Day, just how they have held themselves when it comes to recruiting or just how they've handled it and the things that they've done. And they've gotten to different areas. I know Tress was, hey, we're putting this wall up in Ohio. Urban got down to Florida. He got down to Texas. And now Ohio State is just this massive brand that is involved in almost anybody they want to be.
Ryan Day is such hard work. Ryan Day is such a real individual. It's crazy. I mean, to be in that position, the pressure he's been under, he is such a real person. It's kind of nuts when you think about it.
It is. Well, SEC finally, I guess, in a way, getting with the times. They're changing how they handle their conference schedule, and this is coming quick. It's coming next year. What could the future be for college football with their scheduling, with the expansion in the playoffs, conferences, all of it? We'll discuss it next. Coming up, Fan Sports Saturday.
There's nothing Bo Bishop can't do well, except find competent co-hosts. Bishop and Friends.
Weekdays from 9 to noon.
The Fan.
The dog days of summer are the best days to save at Coughlin Chevrolet. Lease a new 2026 Chevy Equinox, only $259 a month. New 2025 Silverado, lease for $359 a month. See our full inventory at CoglinChevrolet.com. Together, let's drive.
36-month lease with $39.99 due at signing, plus tax, title, and license. 10,000 miles per year, 25 cents per mile over. See dealer for details. Ends 9/2/25.
Get Eco.
ECO. Hey, Aaron, I've been thinking.
You came up with a new invention?
No, I've been pondering a problem.
Is it anything I can help you with?
I'm not sure.
Tell me.
I've been thinking about our scuba diving plumbers.
Get Eco.
ECO.
They dive right in and fix the problem.
That's the problem.
You lost me.
The problem with being extremely good at something is that you make it look easy.
You're worried that people think plumbing is easy?
Well, our extremely very good plumbers sure make it look easy.
Get Eco.
ECO.
Don't worry, Jerry. Sooner or later, most people try to fix their own plumbing problem.
I can testify to that.
Jerry, did you try to fix it yourself?
Yeah.
Don't give it another thought, buddy. I'll send somebody over right now.
Get Eco.
ECO. You're a real friend, Aaron.
Eco Scuba Diving Plumbers, Genius Electricians, and you can always trust our HVAC technicians.
GetEco.com.
Burnt out, foggy, running on caffeine and willpower? It's time for a reset. Hydrate Me Med Spa brings next-level wellness to Central Ohio with medical-grade IV drips, NAD Plus for brain and energy support, and ozone therapy to detox at the cellular level. This isn't just self-care, it's a system upgrade. Feel sharper, sleep deeper, perform better. Now open in Dublin, Grandview, New Albany, and Granville. Book your drip at hydratememedspa.com.
At Dick's Sporting Goods, we have always believed sport has the power to change lives. Community happens here. Change happens here. Sport happens here. Introducing the all-new Dick's House of Sport, bringing new experiences, new services, and unrivaled selection from the top brands to a new place Polaris can call home. Featuring a rock wall, a HitTrax multi-sport cage, and 3 golf hitting bays. Dick's House of Sport, now open at Polaris Fashion Place.
Great Lakes Hyundai. The savings are so good.
Now at Great Lakes Hyundai of Dublin, lease 2 Elantras for $200. That's right, lease 2 new 2025 Elantra SEs for just $200 a month for 24 months. Both your new Elantras come with complimentary Hyundai maintenance, with free oil changes and tire rotations for your entire lease. GLakesHyundaiofDublin.com. With approved credit, $39.99 down per unit plus taxes, fees, first month payment, 10K miles per year. In 92.
Broadcasting from the Lindsay Honda Studios.
Honda makes the cars. Lindsay makes the difference. Visit lindsayhonda.com.
WBNS-FM, HD1 Columbus. The Fan. Sports Center.
And I'm Nate Puterball. College football is back. It's week 0 today, and Farmageddon comes your way at noon as number 22 Iowa State takes on number 17 Kansas State out in Dublin, Ireland. And the NFL, the Browns and Bengals are in preseason action today. The Browns host the Rams at 1. Joe Flacco is expected to make the start. And the Bengals host the Colts also at 1. Joe Burrow and the starters will be sitting out. In baseball last night, the Guardians lost to the Rangers 4-3 on a walk-off RBI double from Jock Peterson. They now sit 4 back in the AL wild card. They'll play again tonight at 7:05. And the Reds dropped game 1 of their series to the Arizona Diamondbacks 6-5 in 11 innings to fall a game and a half back in the NL wild card. They meet up again tonight at 8:10. Catch the action right here on The Fan. And Columbus Crew is here in action tonight at Lower.com Field, taking on the New England Revolution at 7:30. Breaking sports news, what happens at The Fan, Ohio sports destination.
Just because it's the weekend doesn't mean we shut up. This is Fan Sports Saturday.
So we know the future of college football seems to be changing left and right. We get the expansion for the college football playoff. They want more expansion of it, the TV deals. And in the middle of all of this, what is the future of scheduling going to look like? Is it eventually going to be a true NFL model that there are no more conferences? Everybody makes their own schedule, figure it out from there. Is it just a giant money grab? I don't know. It's Fan Sports Saturday. Right here, Matt Fontana, Tim May with you. So the news comes out from the SEC that starting next year, they will play a 9-game conference schedule. So they obviously have been, I don't want to say a stick in the mud about it, but they've been really hard about not adding more conference games. But now that they have 16 teams in the SEC, they needed to figure something out. So the SEC will not continue to play without divisions. Each school will play 3 annual opponents. So that's kind of like in the Big Ten model where Ohio State will play Michigan every year no matter what, and then you rotate on through. So they play 3 annual opponents every year. Then the remaining 6 games will rotate, where every team will face every other SEC team at least once every 2 years, and every opponent will be home and away over every 4 years. So as they're trying to I don't want to say get with the times, but they're trying to figure out the way to maximize this while still playing with the college football playoff in mind. Tim, I think it just comes back to these conferences are too bloated. There's too many teams in these conferences, and it's also to a point where, like, I'll just specifically talk about like the Big Ten. I'm not anti the rise of Indiana, right? They make the playoff, and everybody loves Kurt Cignetti, and Illinois seems to be the big team this year that everybody's pointing at Brett Bielema to have them turned around, and they'll make the playoff. Like, I get it, but it's also, you realize that the bottom feeders of every conference, like, it is kind of a waste of everybody's time. You still have to represent them because they're in your conference, but I think some of this stuff is just eventually getting to a point where a team like Ohio State, I want them to play Michigan, I want them to play Penn State, I want them to play Oregon, but eventually I think it's just going to turn to a free-for-all. Every team, make your own schedule as you see fit. We'll sell these on an individual basis to the TV people for those deals and make the best schedule as you see to make the college football playoff, and that's really where everybody's going to make all their money.
Yeah, I don't know if it's going to get to that in the near future. The bottom line is, I like the way the SEC put out their release, like they invented this, like this is something they came up with, and all hail the SEC. When in fact the Big Ten's been doing it for several years now, a couple of years now. And number 2, how they're going to save football as we know it by going to a 9-game schedule. And the cream is going to rise to the top. And oh, by the way, every team will play 2 or 3 teams that it's used to playing. Well, that's what the Big Ten does for the most part, except for Penn State. Didn't have a dance partner. Go figure. But I just like I said on my podcast, the Tim May Show this week with my buddy Clay Hall, I said it's like it's like NASCAR when after Dale Earnhardt Sr. got killed, and all of a sudden they discovered the beauty of the safer barrier. And then several years later, They almost, when you hear NASCAR people talking about it, it's like they came up with the idea for this, when in fact it was basically the product of Tony George and the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, which spread to all these things. The point is, they want to take credit for something that they've been being urged to do by, I don't know if people were paying attention during the Big Ten meetings, right? But that's what the Big Ten was preaching, the 9-game schedule. How can we get on even ground 2 conferences if you're not even playing 9 games in your conference schedule when you got 16 teams? Same with Ohio, same with the Big Ten, and now the SEC has acquiesced in the way I look at it and given into that. So we'll see what the next shoe to drop is when it comes to the playoffs and the future playoff structure of a 16-team playoff, or maybe even more than that down the road starting next year. But Kurt Cignetti said it best. I mean, you can knock it all you want, but he saw it as playing a 9-game schedule at Indiana. Playing a 9-game Big Ten schedule means you're playing 9 Power 4 conference teams in your season. Why should you necessarily play a 10th Power 4 team when you can play 3 patsies and get yourself 3 wins? He didn't say patsies, but that's what he meant. And the SEC is taking a step farther, that supposedly they're all going to play 9 regular season games against fellow SEC opponents, and also all but be obligated to play 1 more game against a Power 4 conference team, which means outside their conference, obviously. And we'll see where that goes. But I think it's more of homogenization, like you're talking about, of college football, because you've got to have some way to definitely judge strength of teams down the road. College football is never going to be totally homogenized because there's too many teams.
Sure.
Even if you go to 60 teams, that's still twice as many in essence as the National Football League. So National Football League, you can have the structure the National Football League has of winning your way into the playoffs, winning your way into buys. But, every college football schedule, you stack any of them up, they're not equal because they're not playing the same people to begin with for the most part. So I think any way you can get a little bit more of a feel for how good is this team in its conference. You know, a 9-game schedule within your conference will give you more of a feel for, all right, well, how good was Alabama last year? Well, Alabama wasn't very good last year when you compare it to Ohio State or Georgia or Texas. It wasn't very good. But the bottom line is the more games you play against, quote, like competition, that doesn't mean you play the same people, the better judgment you can have on those teams.
Well, and it goes back to a point we were discussing earlier on the show. Like, you know, obviously Texas is in the SEC, but when you play them is a big part of that as well, and
Correct.
passing that eye test. And I do think it's so interesting about these conferences knowing they're going to fight for the automatic bids. They don't have to fight for it. If the expansion is going to happen, the Big Ten forever and always will get multiple, and more likely 4 than never just 2, bids into the college football playoff. I will say the same thing about the SEC. They're looking at more 4 or 5 teams making it than just 1 or 2. So it's going to de-incentivize them, if you will, to schedule big out-of-conference games. But I also wonder, as I look at the conferences and say, okay, you've got these bloated amount of teams, but you've got so many of these bids. Do you divide it up and almost make 2 conferences, go to the East and the West in the Big Ten, and say the East champion's going to get a bid in the West? Because eventually these Big Ten championship, SEC championship games, they don't mean anything.
Well,
They're not going to mean anything.
They do to a certain extent because you got to figure both of those teams are going to make the playoff unless one of them is just like an upstart like Iowa State was last year, you know, in the Big 12, and then got beat by Arizona State in the championship game. You got to figure both of the teams that play in what I call the wide open format, which is, you know, it was Oregon and Penn State last year. Mm-hmm. Those were at the end of the season. They had the best records. They should have played each other. You know, Ohio State, it was 4th best in the Big Ten really last year, but it wasn't left out because it played a quality schedule and got into the playoffs. But, you know, I am a fan of the 4-4-2-2-1 format.
Sure. Because
that still leaves 3 wild card picks at the end of it all in a 16-team playoff. And that way, you know, you can, if, you know, the SEC could conceivably get 2 more teams in, or the Big Ten could conceivably get 1 or 2 more teams in, but you're guaranteed to get 4 teams in because, you know, the SEC and the Big Ten drive the train. They are the engine of the train of major college football. I don't think anybody can argue with that at this moment in time. And so why shouldn't they be rewarded for driving the train and getting more of a reward for doing that? Financially, it's a huge reward being in the college football playoff and for the conferences involved. So I'm an advocate of that. I'm an advocate of a 16-team schedule, 16-team playoff, and keep that for 4 or 5 years and see how it goes instead of, you know, just continually trying to dilute the water just to make an extra buck, because I don't think people will be buying that later on.
I think the number one thing the NCAA needs to figure out, are they more invested in the regular season or the playoffs? Because that will then frame these TV deals, it'll frame the conference setup, it'll frame the regular season scheduling. Like, they need to decide what their focus is and what eggs they want to put in what basket. I'm assuming we all know the answer is the playoff, and that is the most important thing. They got to keep the facade up that they care about the regular season, but sometimes you just got to call a spade a spade. Yeah, but if we are going to focus on the college football playoff, then that is our focus, and everything else will just kind of fall into place from there.
Yeah, and that's already happening. I mean, Ohio State won a national championship last year and did not beat its rival for the 4th straight year. And I say, I mean, yeah, it matters. Your rival matters, but not past a national championship. And it gives you more leeway in terms of if you're a big-time program to have a slip-up or 2. The thing I like about the 4-4-2-2-1, and then you hear out of other people's mouths, well, let's get away with the committee, you know, selection committee. I go, no, it'd be more vital than ever to discern between teams because, like we just said, you can play 18 games in a regular season. You're still going to have disparate schedules from one team to the next. How do you judge which team is better or not? It's still going to come down to, for want of another term, a poll, which is the committee voting on things and deciding who are the better teams and where they should go after you put in the champions of those leagues. So, we've still got a long way to go in this thing. Yeah. And the bigger you make it, the more you need a committee in there deciding something about it.
ESPN came out with their top 100 college football players getting ready to go for the season. Of course, a lot of Buckeyes on there, but I'm excited to get through this with Tim because I think there's an interesting point about the Buckeyes that made it. We'll talk about it and how many did they get versus Penn State and Texas. We'll get to that coming up right here on The Fan.
We're the highest rated sports radio station in America. There's no joke there. We just are. The Fan, Ohio's sports destination.
This is Corey Sickles with Safe Harbor Retirement Group. If you are retired or in the planning stages, we can help you maximize your income. Visit safeharboroh.com to schedule a complimentary meeting. safeharboroh.com.
Tailgate season is here, and if your grill makes you have to duck when you light it, it's time for an upgrade. Billiards Plus carries top-of-the-line grills that you can pass down to your kids and gifts the whole family will enjoy. Family owned and operated. Billiards Plus on Dublin Center Drive in Dublin.
Reds fans, for a limited time, save big on all remaining home games with no fees on regular season full-price tickets. Catch the biggest upcoming matchups against the Cardinals, Mets, Cubs, and more. This offer includes Labor Day weekend, which you can spend at the ballpark cheering on your Redlegs. On Saturday, August 30th, fans in attendance will receive a 100-green bobblehead thanks to TriHealth while supplies last. Hurry, this no-fees offer ends Thursday. Visit reds.com/tickets.
Imagine what it would feel like getting tackled head-on by a 240-pound linebacker. You'd be in serious pain, right? But if you're unbuckled in a car crash, at just 50 miles an hour, you become a deadly projectile that can slam into other passengers with 8 times that amount of force. Don't let someone else take the hit. Buckle up and visit buckleup.ohio.gov to learn more. Brought to you by ODOT and ODPS.
Road trip! This summer at Tire Discounters, your tires are your passport to savings, because you're driving to Paris,
Texas!
Then it's off to Rome,
Georgia!
And you'll be kissing the Blarney Stone in Dublin,
Ohio!
Right now, save up to $404 when you buy 4 tires, and that includes a free alignment and oil change. Stop at Tire Discounters before you see the world.
My house has a new glow. I love my windows. Universal Windows Direct.
Choose from payments as low as $99 a month or 12 months with no payments and no interest, plus a free in-home window and energy assessment. Restrictions apply. Give them a call, 614-502-5220.
I love my windows. They've got that brand new home effect. Universal Windows Direct.
The Ohio Lottery's Powerball jackpot is up to at least $700 million. That's $700 million. It's the biggest advertised Powerball jackpot this year. With drawings every Monday, Wednesday, and Saturday, Powerball jackpots grow faster, and they're bigger than ever. Play today. Check it. And don't forget to pick up a cash word scratch-off while you're at it to extend the fun. With tickets from $2 to $30, there's a cash word for everyone. Lottery players are subject to Ohio laws and commission regulations. Play responsibly.
What does summer bring to mind? Lazy days by the pool? Hot dogs on the grill? How about large, sweaty men putting work in to defend their national title? Yes! Your summer home of the Buckeyes, The Fan.
The roof of your home protects what matters most in your life. Your family, your memories, your peace of mind. So when it comes time to replace the roof over your head, you need a name you can trust. Newman Roofing. Don't just take our word for it. Here's our friend Cindy on why she chose Newman Roofing over all the rest.
We had interviewed and talked with several other roofing companies around the city. The salesperson that came to speak with us was extremely knowledgeable, answered questions, took his time with us, We were happy to make Newman our choice.
And you'll have peace of mind knowing that on the day of the installation, we'll give you and your home the respect it deserves.
The guys arrived right on time. The crew leader came and talked with us, let us know what they were going to be doing. He was here all day with the crew. That itself was very impressive.
If you're thinking about your roofing or siding, give Newman Roofing a call today.
We were very happy with our experience, and we would highly recommend Newman to anybody we talk to.
Don't just get a new roof, get a Newman roof. Call 614-NEW-ROOF or visit online at newmanroofing.com.
Hey there, friends. Bo Bishop here. Looking for bold flavors and award-winning spirits? High Bank Distillery Co. is your destination for handcrafted cocktails, locally inspired dishes, and Whiskey War, the nationally recognized whiskey. Whether you're going for brunch, dinner, or just a drink, High Bank brings the perfect mix of craft and comfort. Stop by their Grandview, Gahanna, and Westerville locations this week. Dine, drink, distill at High Bank Distillery Co., where great spirits meet even better company. Learn more at highbankco.com.
You hear that? That's the sound of Pepsi Zero Sugar, the better tasting, more refreshing zero sugar cola. Pepsi Zero Sugar. Let your taste decide.
The Columbus Zoo invites you to follow the footsteps and the tales of animals from around the world. Explore our newest region, North America Trek. So what are you waiting for? Get your tail to our trails only at your Columbus Zoo.
Fan weather.
From the Logan AC and Heat Services Weather Center.
Partly cloudy with highs in the mid-80s. We keep a partly cloudy sky overnight tonight with lows dipping back into the mid-60s for Sunday morning. And then by Sunday afternoon, mostly sunny but a bit cooler than Saturday with highs in the low 80s. I'm meteorologist Mike Joyce on 97.1 The Fan.
The two most mature people working at the radio station. And that's just because they wear pants. The pervert and the skivvies. Rockman and Ice.
Weekdays at noon.
The Fan. Instead of annoying national people talking to you this weekend, we've opted for annoying local people. This is Fan Sports Saturday.
Big day of football online. We got about an hour to go until we get some preseason action. And Tim, I don't know if you caught any of the college game that's on. Iowa State and Kansas State. It's raining. It's downpouring. They're playing in Dublin. They've had like 3 turnovers on the first 3 drives already.
Yeah.
So it's a little sloppy. It's a little wet.
I was talking with Pooterball. We were watching the fumble a minute ago, or the bad pitch, and I'm just going, yeah, they're definitely playing this in Ireland. It looks exactly like you would think a football game would be played in Ireland in terms of the weather and maybe the jitters of being halfway across the Atlantic.
But the important thing is there is some breaking news.
Yeah.
There is college football on our television.
College football is on. Everybody, we have made it. Thank you. We have made it. It's been a long, long journey to get to this point. It seems longer every year. As we get ready to go. But, I do like this. We're going to get to ESPN's top 100 list coming up for players. But, Tim, I'd like this as their kickoff. They're in Dublin. They've gotten some big teams. Obviously, this is a top 25 matchup. And I certainly think getting ready for Ohio State, Texas a week from today, literally a week, we'll be kicking that game off.
True.
The excitement is there, and that's where once we get here, I need to have some of these games. Like, it kind of goes back to the scheduling that we were talking about in the prior segment about the SEC. They're going to 9 games, and how eventually I think the regular season is just going to be so devalued because everybody's going to make everybody's going to make the college football playoff, and it's not going to be as important. But, like, the excitement for college football, you just want to capture because the NFL hasn't started yet. And we know there's always that balance to Saturdays and to Sundays and things like that. But college football's got to have games like Ohio State, Texas next week. They have to have some of even the big, LSU, Clemson, all these other big games that are coming. Like, I just have a fear we're going to lose those in a couple of years.
Yeah, but you know what? Number one, it comes down to making money. Any endeavor comes down to making money. But number two, I think going to 9 games in the SEC, just like the Big Ten has done, I think it enhances your regular season from the standpoint of allure for the fan. Would you rather see Ohio State play 10 games in the conference this year and play Oregon again, or would you rather see Ohio State play 9 games like they are and playing Grambling? That's by any stretch, that's a mismatch. I'm not going to get into other terms you could use for it, but that's ridiculous. In a lot of respects, except for it being a payday, home game payday for Ohio State, which is why you schedule it. I mean, let's don't bandy around that bush. I mean, it is what it is. But I'd much rather see Ohio State play 10 conference games, not 9, but 10 conference games that matter. That way you get five at home and 5 on the road in the conference. But yet that limits you in terms of occasionally scheduling at least 7 home games, which is the way an Ohio State really pays the bills for a 36-sport athletic department. You've got to have those 7 home games in some form or fashion to get it done, which means you would have to really be juggling those out-of-conference games for at least one Power 4 opponent to fill one of the spots, and then, for one another term, a warm-up game. In many respects, it ought to be Ohio State scrambling for the opener and get it out of the way, get everybody's jitters out of the way, and then you play Texas, which is the way it's been structured a lot for the most part down through the ages. But I think at least having to play 9 conference games enhances the regular season for fans. I know I'd much rather see Ohio State play even Purdue than Ohio State play Grambling.
Yeah, and that's the thing. It does come back to the money, and the money usually is good for the fan. I know people sometimes get bothered, like, oh, the NCAA is so greedy, and I go, yeah, but it usually works out for the fans because they make the money off of fans watching. They want to give you the best product. Like, in a way, they are still trying to service the fans.
Yeah,
the best
and they
that
are quality.
Can.
You look at the SEC last year. There are quality programs too.
Sure.
I mean,
yeah.
Alabama got beat by Oklahoma. Well, Oklahoma has national championships in its resume, has all this going on, but clearly it's been in a rebuilding mode under Brent Venables for a couple of years now. He's really on the hot seat going into this season, obviously. But Alabama got beat by Oklahoma, a fellow conference member. We know what Arkansas has been through. Arkansas has been a national championship team in the past, a program in the past. But we know Arkansas, but those are still quality opponents. But I don't necessarily hold them higher than a mid-pack Big Ten team right now. I mean, if anything, Oklahoma's lesser than in that regard. Yeah. I mean, look at a mid-pack Big Ten team last year. USC has started with a win over an SEC team and beat a team from the SEC, Texas A&M, in the bowl game. USC was not considered a powerhouse by any stretch in the Big Ten last year, but it beat LSU in the opener, and it beat Texas A&M those are in the bowl game, and those are teams that the SEC is claiming make the strength of their of how strong that conference is it's strong throughout. Well, that's not necessarily the case for anybody, because every year your football team can be better or worse than it was a year before, and so that's why you would like to see a Big Ten team play an SEC team at the beginning of the year in one of those non-conference games. But, if it's Ohio State playing Arkansas, what does that mean, right? Mm-hmm. What you really saying is you want to see Ohio State play Georgia. You want to see Ohio State play Alabama and vice versa, as opposed to just playing a Big Ten team.
And the thing is, it's going to come back to the ebbs and flows of the team, like USC, right? Well, that's historically, it should be a much better program than they were. And college football will be better when you have those, I know it's a college basketball term, but the blue bloods, good. And it's Oklahoma and even Nebraska, like when they're good, that's good for college football. But they just go through the lulls and kind of the slow times, which hurts them. And with ever the crossover between a lot of these schools that you're trying to figure out, it is going to come back to who's going to watch that game, who is good, and also knowing how the out of conference goes, scheduling these things 3, 4, 5 years in advance, hoping that these teams will be good by then, or just kind of, it really is a roll of the dice and even a stroke of luck at times.
Or if they'll even play, Ohio State's
right. How many times do they cancel?
Yeah. I mean, we'll you schedule it, but it's the old Jerry Seinfeld thing. You can make the reservation. Anybody can make the reservation, but can you hold the reservation? Yeah. We've seen Ohio State try to get games with SEC teams down through the ages, and for whatever reason they get on the schedule and then they disappear. Like poof. Siegfried and Roy are involved, but Tiger ate it. But the bottom line is, but the more, like I'm saying, it's good news that the SEC is going to 9 conference games, because that will mean 9 quality opponents they're playing. You can look at any SEC team schedule. They try to, in the past, they've maybe had a Power 4 conference team on there, but when you see Mercer and Martin, Tennessee Martin, and all these other, Kennesaw State, which is Indiana's gone to Kennesaw State ramp now. They've got off on that exit ramp when it comes to non-conference schedule. They're doing it. The SEC's been doing it for a long time.
All right, coming up, we're going to get some more insight on the Buckeyes. We'll get ready to go for Texas. We'll revisit that ESPN College Football 100 list because I do think it's very interesting about where the Buckeyes are at. We got all of it coming up just 2 minutes away here on The Fan.
Common Man here. Our friends at Care Heating and Cooling in Lenox are feeling the love. They're doing something extraordinary for Central Ohio families. The Lenox Feel the Love program provides deserving families and individuals with indoor heating and cooling equipment as well as installation at no cost. You can nominate someone who you think is deserving at feelthelove.com. Nominations will be accepted through August 31st. Let's give back to our hometown heroes. Selfless neighbor, maybe who always puts everybody first. Community leaders like teachers, firefighters, and volunteers, or just families facing hard times. Whoever you think is worthy, send a nomination. As of 2024, the Feel the Love program has completed more than 350 installations with help of dealers like Care Heating and Cooling. Our friends at Lenox donate all the equipment, and Care donates the labor and materials, and the installs are done at no cost. Remember, the deadline is August 31st. Care Heating and Cooling. Call 1-800-COOLING or book an appointment online at careheatingandcooling.com. When you need a company you can trust.
People can't say enough amazing things about Vanscoy Hair Clinics. Men and women struggle with hair loss every day, and they completely change their lives. Vanscoy Hair Clinics is the only company in Ohio that has PRP, platelet-rich plasma, and the multi-unit hair grafting hair transplant procedure. Go to vanscoyhair.com for more info, or call 614-432-8042. Here's what some of their hair transplant clients have said.
Around 26, 27, I lost almost all of my hair on top. It changed my life in ways that I could not imagine.
My hair is going to continue growing for the rest of my life. There is hope that you can do something about your hair loss.
Multi-unit hair grafting gives you 3 times more hair per procedure, saving you time and money. Hair transplants are more affordable than ever, and PRP is a fast, easy, and effective 45-minute treatment for thinning or damaged hair. Call Vanscoy for a free consultation, 614-432-8042, or visit vanscoyhair.com. That's 614-432-8042. Find out what procedure will restore your hair.
The radio couldn't contain us, so we've taken over YouTube. Catch Morning Juice weekday mornings at 6 by searching 971 The Fan. Do it. Sports talk, weekend style. You're listening to Fan Sports Saturday.
Week away from Ohio State, Texas. What a matchup it's going to be. We'll get a little insight to it. He's Tim May. I'm Matt Fontana right here on Fan Sports Saturday. And we're so happy to be joined by Tony Gerdeman. Of course, you can catch him at Buckeye Huddle, lead beat reporter there. The Buckeye Weekly podcast. Tony's everywhere. Gerd, really appreciate your time here on a Saturday. And wanted to start with you on, I know we've talked a lot about it this week, but just your thoughts on the Ohio State quarterback battle. Tim and I discussed it earlier, where I always had the thought that it was a little bit leaning towards Julian Sain from the jump. It ended up playing that way. You know, Tim said, I think Lincoln Kienholz made it a little closer than you think. Just your take on the Buckeyes eventually getting to Julian Sain as their starting quarterback.
Yeah, I think Julian Sain was the betting favorite, and most people expected him to win the job, but they gave Lincoln Kienholz an opportunity, and he was taking snaps with the ones just like Julian Sain was. So he got an opportunity, and there were days where he was better, both in the spring and in fall camp, but it's the abundance, all of the evidence that they had led them with Sain. And I think it's one of those things, as we would talk to players or talk to coaches, the thing they would always talk about with Julian Sain was his arm and the way he throws the ball, the way he gets the ball out. And the thing that everybody would say about Lincoln is he's a really great athlete. And so when you're competing to be quarterback, the traits that are talked about among the quarterback needs, the arm and things like that, those are the ones that kept standing out. So it's not a huge surprise that Julian Sain is the starter.
Yeah, that's what I finally got down to, Tony, when I tried to explain this argument or this competition was with Ohio State, you want a starting pitcher, who pretty much stays on the mound, and throws strikes. Yeah. And, this other guy is pretty good. Lincoln Kienholz can throw strikes, and he's a good starting pitcher type guy. But the fact he can run down a bunt or something, hey, you get to that later. And I reminded people, Julian Sayin in one rating was considered one of the best dual threat quarterbacks coming out a couple of years ago. I think people forget that he can run, right?
Yeah, no, I completely agree. And I know when people talk about like a red zone package or whatever, Julian Sayin can keep the read and take off with it.
Yeah.
He's not the biggest guy, but he's still bigger than most running backs. If you want to think about it like that, he's over 200 pounds. He's 6 foot, 6'1". He'll tell you, he can get in there and get after it. And he's a mobile guy. He can escape. It's just, Lincoln, 9,000 yards passing in high school, 3,000 yards rushing, basketball, all-state pitcher, all of that. Like he's got all of that, but I don't think you need to sacrifice what Julian does or take him out of the game. But as Ryan Day said, they need to get both guys ready to beat and play against Texas. So because you've got a starter doesn't mean Lincoln Keenholz just takes a back seat now.
Yeah, that's why this quarterback room is so interesting. Is the three guys you were mainly looking at, including freshman Tavian St. Clair. None of them have started a college football game, and the two that have been around have played very little. It's quite the conundrum. I'm going to ask you, what is your, because people keep asking me this, I want to get your answer to it. What is your sense of how bold Ohio State will be in this opener with a new offensive coordinator calling the plays, obviously, in Brian Hartline, and with a new guy at quarterback, new running backs, no matter how you size them up, new running backs. How bold will Ohio State be, you think, in this opener? And I contend if they want to win it, they're going to have to be bold at some point in this opener. Go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, they've got the advantage there at home, so why not get after it? That's the way I view it. And, build the confidence through production from Julian Sayin. And you've got the receivers that they've got, whatever they're going to do to Jeremiah Smith, that's going to open up for other people, whether it's Max Clare, Carnell Tate, or Brandon Ennis. So they have some advantages. So why not get after it and just, go from there and set the tone? We know everybody talks about Steve Sarkisian's first 15 scripted plays, and you got to just assume you're going to give up a touchdown drive in the first quarter to Texas because of what they do. Match them, just get after it. And I feel like this is one of those games where Ryan Day always talks about, go down swinging or whatever, like the Georgia Bowl game in 2022, where just you don't leave anything out there. And again, like this doesn't kill them if they lose, so why not be aggressive and not careless, but just you've got the crowd, so use it. Yeah, use the crowd, seize the crowd. That's from Gladiator, I think. And win the crowd, I think was the line, right? I'm sorry, Tony. You'll hear more quips from me in a week when we're sitting next to each other in the press box. I've already assured that. Wanted to ask you this. Give me one name. Don't go Austin Ward on me. Austin used to be on my podcast a lot, and he would name 5 guys, and I want one. Okay, he knows that. He's probably laughing if he's listening right now. But the bottom line, one guy that just besides quarterback, the one guy out of preseason camp and all the conversations we got to have with players, et cetera. Who's that one guy you're most looking forward to seeing, who people have seen very little of thus far? I can give you 5 guys, Tim, but let's just go with how about one? Brandon Ennis. I think captain, one of the energy guys. We got to see him a little bit, but I think he's also a different player than what we saw last year. He's faster, more explosive. He talked about how he's setting personal records in the weight room and all of those sorts of things. He's lighter, he's faster. We saw that in fall camp, and where he was just more agile, more explosive. So I want to see how that gets used in this offense, because generally the slot receiver in the Ohio State offense since Urban Meyer arrived, and let alone Ryan Day, has been 50 to 90 catches. So what does Brandon Ennis look like with that? And he's an exciting guy, and he's waited his turn, and I don't think anybody is more excited about this than he is. I said the same thing on Channel 10 or a wall-to-wall sports thing or something after spring. They were talking about who's the guy you're most looking forward to emerging, and they're saying like Mylan Graham and Quincy Porter, who I really like, by the way, but I said Brandon Ennis because now we're going to see him much more. We saw what he brought to the table last year, right? He made several huge plays for that football team last year, and even in the playoffs. And now he's going to be out there a lot. And we know the respect the team has for him. They elected him one of the captains. So that's nuts. I wanted to ask you this much. From a defensive line standpoint, we're not going to know the answer to this maybe till October or November. Do you think they found the depth there
in that defensive tackle room to suffice. Obviously, we know the starters, Caden McDonald and Edric Houston. If, in fact, it looks like Houston's definitely going to be ready to go. But have they found the depth you think they need, or at least they will suffice with as this season wears on?
Yeah, I'm wondering how many defensive ends take defensive tackle snaps and passing downs.
Bingo.
Larry Johnson talked about they need Caden McDonald for 25 to 35 plays, and that's half the game.
Yes.
And so we know Will Smith will get some snaps, but I doubt he's going to get half the snaps because you still have passing down. So I think you're going to see Bo Atkinson and Caden Curry. And Bo Atkinson is accustomed to that. He did it at North Carolina. Logan George, I don't know. We haven't seen much from him in fall. Of course, we only saw the first 3 days, and he was, I think, a little banged up. But he played on the inside of Idaho State in that 3-3-5 defense that they played. So he's used to that. Kenyatta Jackson's just a big old dude, so he can play inside if he wants. Not first and 10 or whatever, or second and 2, but throughout the course of the game, I think they're going to find ways to steal snaps for those defensive tackles. But I think the good news is Jason Moore and Tywan Malone have played, so Larry Johnson knows what they're getting and whether or not they'll be like we can deal with them being out there for right now, and if they're not producing, then you can make some changes. But yeah, I'm also interested to see freshman Jarquez Carter, who Larry Johnson said is in the top 6 right now, but not sure if the top 6 of those defensive tackles are actually going to get on the field. I think 5 of them will, and we'll see if 6 can.
Hey, one last thing for me. I'm not trying to hog this, but you know how I do hog things, right? Sometimes. Sorry about that, Tony. What will the fans, you think, be able to notice that's different about a Matt Patricia coordinated defense compared to what we saw from Jim Knowles, especially in his heyday last season, especially in the playoffs? What do you think? Will there be something people can pick up on sitting there in their seats going, hey, Tony Gerdeman told me that?
Yeah, well, I keep expecting to see like Arvell Reese and Sonny Styles getting after the quarterback, whether that's blitzing or blitzing off of the edge and just being used in pass rushing ways. I think what you can see or what you may notice is it's almost there's some offense on the defense. And I know Jim Knowles even talked about that in the past, but I think they'll spotlight some guys to make plays. And that's the thing that they always talk about with Matt Patricia or Bill Belichick. They do a great job of finding what guys do best and then get them in positions to do that. So it's almost like they'll just spotlight guys and have them make some plays. Or these are the types of plays that we want you to attack. And so don't be surprised if you see some guys that are successful in that attacking that maybe you wouldn't normally expect or aren't normally there. And I also think, if they can get Sonny Styles and Arvell Reese on the edge a little bit, that will help the defensive line. That will also allow Peyton Pierce to get on the field at times. So I think there's going to be quite a bit of rotation. I'm fascinated to see how many freshmen are playing in this game on Saturday, because that will tell you everything you need to know about how the coaches feel about the freshmen if they're playing in this game.
A lot of pressure there, Tony, because Tim said, everybody's going to be sitting there thinking about what your answer to that question was going to be. So I thought, well, but everybody will be watching on Saturday. Tony, really appreciate your time this morning.
Yep, you guys have a good one.
There you go, Tony. You put the pressure on him there, Tim. You said everybody's going to be sitting there. What's the one thing they think about? But
they're right matchups, man. I'm telling you, don't discount a guy coming from the NFL who understands the worth of matchups and finding that weak link and or shoring up your own weak link. But just – that's what I'm most interested in watching, and whether we'll be able to see it, it remains to be seen. But you might more feel it than see it if you follow my drift.
Yeah, no, and it is game one. There's going to be those adjustments for Patricia, and as even the game goes on, you mentioned some of the freshmen. I'll be looking for maybe Devin Sanchez to get some of that tick out there, but it'll all be coming a week from today. All right, ESPN came out with their top 100 college football players. How many Buckeyes were in the top 100? And was it number 1 for Jeremiah Smith? We'll tell you all that when we return right here on The Fan.
We have so many local shows, I can't fit them in a 10-second promo. So let's just say we're live and local all damn day. The Fan.
Burnt out, foggy, running on caffeine and willpower? It's time for a reset. Hydrate Me Med Spa brings next-level wellness to Central Ohio with medical-grade IV drips, NAD Plus for brain and energy support, and ozone therapy to detox at the cellular level. This isn't just self-care, it's a system upgrade. Feel sharper, sleep deeper, perform better. Now open in Dublin, Grandview, New Albany, and Granville. Book your drip at hydratememedspa.com.
Hi, I'm Dr. John Runyon from Runyon Dental Group. Are you missing teeth or do you have uncomfortable dentures? Dental implants can not only transform your smile, they can restore your confidence and allow you to eat those foods you love that you've been missing. When I was in my early 30s, I was in a similar situation needing complex dental work and dental implants. I understand all the emotions that you're feeling because I've been the patient and I know that we can help you. Schedule a free consultation today at runyondentalgroup.com. That's runyondentalgroup.com.
Got one of those days that never stops? Try a stop at Speedway. Refresh your fuel tank, refresh your U-tank with 69-cent large Big Gulp drinks. And refresh the vibe for any drive. Refresh at Speedway with 69-cent large Big Gulp drinks with Speedy Rewards and try exclusive Mountain Dew Infinite Swirl flavor for a limited time only. The convenience stores of Speedway. Valid through 8/26/25. See app for full terms.
Dear McDonald's, your breakfast menu? Fire. 10s across the board. I could be happy with anything, even though I order the same thing every time. Thanks for not judging me. I'll try something new next time. Maybe.
For a limited time, you can enjoy a savory sausage McMuffin with egg meal, including golden hash browns and a small hot coffee for just $5. Price and participation may vary.
Ba-da-ba-ba-ba.
At Kroger Pharmacy, we make it easy to get flu, COVID, and RSV vaccines. They're available at no cost to you with most insurance plans, no appointment needed. And we're open weekdays, weeknights, and weekends, so come and visit us when it's most convenient for you. Kroger Health, a world of care is in store. Vaccines subject to availability. No cost to you with most insurance plans. Check with your plan for eligibility. Restrictions and exclusions may apply. See site for details.
Imagine what it would feel like getting tackled head-on by a 240-pound linebacker. You'd be in serious pain, right? But if you're unbuckled in a car crash, at just 50 miles an hour, you become a deadly projectile that can slam into other passengers with 8 times that amount of force. Don't let someone else take the hit. Buckle up and visit buckleup.ohio.gov to learn more. Brought to you by ODOT and ODPS.
What's the best way to make sure you don't miss any of your favorite fan shows? Oh no! Download the Fan app, silly.
Ah, damn it, I knew that.
App Store, Google Play, or just scream right at your phone. Psst, you can also listen to Buckeye games. Do it now.
Hi, I'm Rick Germain, and it's the Toyota National Sales Event all month long at Toyota West. With over 600 new and pre-owned vehicles available, Toyota West at I-270 and Georgesville Road has the car you're looking for. And right now at Toyota West, take advantage of no payments for 90 days, and every pre-owned vehicle comes with a 72-hour exchange policy plus a 3-month warranty for qualified vehicles. Come see us at the Germain Auto Mall on Georgesville Road or get started today at ToyotaWest.com. No payments for 90 days, deferred payment, interest accrued at time of inception with approved credit, expires 8/31.
Working your way through that honey-do list? That means more flushes, more showers, more fiddling with the thermostat. Trust the pros at the Waterworks with your plumbing and drain cleanings and repairs and all your heating and cooling needs. Our certified pros can repair or replace your furnace or air conditioner. Clogs? Call the Waterworks. Drain cleaning? Call the Waterworks. Plumbing issues? Call the Waterworks. Furnace repairs? Call the Waterworks. The Waterworks, trusted neighborhood plumbing, drain, heating, and cooling experts.
Hi, welcome to IKEA. Hi, I'm in a whirlwind of college prep. Gotcha. We've got affordable solutions to create the perfect college living space. Great. And visit our website to see how verified college students with an IKEA family account can receive a one-time use 15% off coupon. Nice. You guys think of everything. Pretty much. Offer ends 9/30/25. Valid ID required. Discount applied proportionally across items purchased as shown on receipt. See IKEA-USA.com/ready for college for complete terms.
The Ohio Lottery's Powerball jackpot is up to at least $700 million. That's $700 million. It's the biggest advertised Powerball jackpot this year. With drawings every Monday, Wednesday, and Saturday, Powerball jackpots grow faster, and they're bigger than ever. Play today. Check it. And don't forget to pick up a cash word scratch-off while you're at it to extend the fun. With tickets from $2 to $30, there's a cash word for everyone. Lottery players are subject to Ohio laws and commission regulations. Play responsibly.
All your favorite fan shows are available when you want them.
Head to 971thefan.com and hit that subscribe button.
The Fan, Ohio sports destination. During weekend programming, pants are optional.
Look at my butt!
However, leather chairs may have been a bad choice. You're listening to Fan Sports Saturday.
Wrapping things up before we're going to head back in time with the Buckeye Rewind. Buckeye Replay coming up at 1 o'clock here on The Fan. Tim May, Matt Fontana. A few things to get to. We'll start with ESPN's top 100 college football players. Before we get to a story from the Bengals that just makes a lot of sense if you believe that they're as cheap as they sound. We'll get to that in a second. So, top 100 players comes out. Tim, no shock here. It is number one overall. It's Jeremiah Smith. And I think he has certainly solidified himself in that spot. It's kind of insane to think about how just one season, like it feels like Jeremiah Smith has been here forever, but it's just been the one season. But he's number one here. Jake Trotter with the write-ups is arguably the best player in college football. Broke the Big Ten freshman record on the way to the national championship. The 5 touchdowns in 4 playoff games certainly didn't hurt either, and he deserves to be number one on this list.
Oh, I think absolutely. The only reason I wouldn't necessarily make a wide receiver number one is he's at the whims of the play calling and the quarterback on how many times he's actually going to make that kind of impact on a game, right?
Right.
But when you got a guy like Jeremiah Smith, you're obligated to try to get the ball in his hands, in my opinion, minimum 8 to 10 times a game, minimum on offense, not any other way. And so we'll see if Ohio State, in fact, does that, because he can make something out of nothing. He's proven that. And so he is a very special talent, without a doubt. People who are talented say that about him. If you follow, it's like an opera singer. Well, this guy sings better than I do, right? So, yes, I'm not surprised at all by that. Just dovetailing off of that, Caleb Downs is what, number 3? Number 3 on the list.
Yeah.
Dude, this guy... I had dedicated a whole Tim May show to him a couple of days ago, but just what he brings to the table before you ever get to the fact he can make plays, what he brings to the table from a coach on the field, a preparation standpoint. And then, by the way, he is physically gifted and then assertive enough to then go and make the plays as a safety or wherever else they line him up. That'll be the one of the chess games you watch Matt Patricia playing with that piece on his table. Caleb Downs, where's he lining up from one play to the next? Texas will be asking the same question about him, and he can, as he pointed out in that podcast, or when we were interviewing him the other day, he can see what's going on from several different angles, depending on where you put him, a lot better than most players can, meaning he makes sense of the board in front of him. And we all saw what that meant for Ohio State, especially in the stretch run to the championship last year. And I really think he clearly is one of those guys that comes along only every so often.
And punt return. You can do that too. And obviously took one of the house last year. So for the Buckeyes on the list, Jeremiah Smith 1, Caleb Downs 3. This is kind of the quick thing I wanted to get to here, Tim, because the next up is Sonny Styles at 62.
Yeah.
Carnell Tate at 67. And then Max Clare at 75. Ohio State had 5 guys in the top 100. Penn State had 7. Texas had 6, and they were a little bit more, that they would have guys in like the teens, then the 20s, then the 30s. And I know this is just ESPN's write-up. I'm not saying this is Bible or this is gospel or anything, but just that gap where, yes, very clearly, Jeremiah Smith, Caleb Downs, 2 of the best college football players in the entire country. But then there is that little bit of a gap to everybody else on the roster.
Yeah, but you take into account. Where have they got Arch Manning, like 23rd, I think, or something?
Yeah.
So they're, 20, they're at least having a little bit of reality there. He's not number one like he is on a lot of people's list. That's still to be seen. I think he's extremely talented. We'll see on Saturday, right? But I think having what you really meant to say was Ohio State's got 5 in the top 75. That's a lot.
Yeah, that's true too. Yeah.
I mean, when you really break it down, and so I have no argument with that. Max Clare, his claim is based on what he did at Purdue to this point, right? So there's a great pickup for them in the transfer portal. Ohio State's done a great job over the last several years. Now, like I said, I point to a lot of fellas involved, but Mark Pantoni's definitely in his group are very much involved in finding the transfer portal additions that clearly are an upgrade or take nothing away from you. And I think Max Clare is one of those guys. He's such a team fellow when you talk to him. And we'll see where he goes. But I think Max Clare is one of those great pickups that Ohio State did to enhance its roster.
I know you wanted to get to this story. So this came out from Boomer Esiason. Of course, Boomer, legendary Cincinnati quarterback, he Ring of Honor inductee in his own. And he told a story on his radio show yesterday that the Bengals reached out to him and said, would you like to come to the Ring of Honor weekend this upcoming October? And they said, hey, you get 2 tickets to the game, but that's all you get. You do not get a hotel. You got to book your own flights. And if you want extra tickets to the game, you're only allowed to buy 1. And there's some people jumping on this saying this looks like a cheap kind of move by the Brown family. The Bengals, hey, come to our Ring of Honor ceremony, but all you get is a ticket to the game.
As a Bengals fan, I completely think this is true.
No, I'm sure it's true. But then the question was, like, do other teams do it this way? Like, I don't mean to pile on the Bengals there, Tim, but this seems like not something you want to be doing.
It's good. It dovetails back into our original conversation on this show about Trey Hendrickson and the stumbles are getting of giving him guaranteed money. It's the same thing when it comes down to it. We're talking about cash coming out of the till. And, it's just unfortunate. You would think you're being added to the Ring of Honor. You're being honored. And this is, by the way, buy your own airline ticket, buy your own hotel. And I guess he has to pay for his own Uber or cab, too, right?
Probably, yeah.
Or a rental car, so or limo, I guess. But, yeah, it's too bad because it just reinforces that Scrooge mentality, for want of another term. This is Scrooge before Christmas, not after Christmas. Mentality or reputation that the Bengals have. Too bad. And not too bad. It's good to know these things, actually.
Yeah, it is. It's tough, too, because, I'm sure Boomer wants to be there. So it's for Dave Lapham and Lamar Parrish. They're the ones going in. And to have a guy like Boomer come back, and somebody had a good post on it. They're like, this isn't just some guy. This is like Boomer Esiason.
Correct.
Like, his name is on the side of some of these buildings here. Super Bowl. Like, if you were going to do anything or pay for anybody to come back, this would be it. And it's not even just, the importance to Boomer, but the importance to Dave Lapham and Lamar Parrish. That's important to them to have a guy like there. And then that's awkward for Boomer.
Yeah, but you know what? Those couple $1,000s can go a long way to giving Trey Hendrickson his guaranteed contract. So,
I guess it could.
Could have a payoff. Could have a payoff.
They got to sell the TVs of all the, from all the press box and all the all the suites. They had to sell all the TVs off. Every little dollar counts there, but it is what it is. All right, so we got Ohio State, the replay coming up. We're going to do Notre Dame, Ohio State. Or no, do we have Texas today, Nate? Is it Notre Dame or Ohio State, Texas today, right?
No, it's the Notre Dame game.
It is the Notre Dame game. So we'll get to that coming up. Nate, Tim, had always a great pleasure with you guys. 1 week from today, we get Ohio State, Texas. We got you covered right here on The Fan.
If you've recently seen a photo of an older Baker Mayfield fresh off a bender, it's just Bo Bishop. Bishop and Friends.
Weekdays from 9 to noon.
The Fan.
We could tell you what makes Giant Eagle special, but we think our customers say it best.
I love the fresh produce. I love the fresh meat.
I'm pretty sure the fish guy knows me by now. We're buds.
I love to grill. That alone keeps me coming back.
The people that work here are so nice and so helpful.
Everybody loves the cakes from Giant Eagle.
On every shelf, in every department, we're always going for better because being your Giant Eagle matters.
This is my Giant Eagle.
This is my Giant Eagle.
This is my Giant Eagle.
You hear that? That's the sound of Pepsi Zero Sugar, the better tasting, more refreshing Zero Sugar Cola. Pepsi Zero Sugar. Let your taste decide.
The Columbus Zoo invites you to follow the footsteps and the tales of animals from around the world. Explore our newest region, North America Trek. So what are you waiting for? Get your tail to our trails only at your Columbus Zoo.
Get Eco.
Aaron?
Yeah, Jerry?
Do you know what I like best about our plumbers?
Tell me.
No matter how difficult, no matter how messy, no matter what it takes, they just dive right in and fix it.
Get Eco.
ECO. They dive right in.
Yes, they dive right in.
We've got scuba diving plumbers.
Get Eco.
ECO.
You know they don't literally dive in, right?
Well, of course not. Not yet, anyway. The pipes are too small.
Get Eco.
ECO. They won't be able to literally dive in until I finish inventing my eco miniaturizing ray.
But until then, our plumbers will just keep on figuratively diving right in.
Yes, that would be best.
Jerry, do you know what I like best about our plumbers?
Tell me.
They're so good at their job, they make it look easy.
Get Eco.
ECO.
Get Eco.
ECO.
Scuba diving plumbers, genius electricians, and better than average HVAC technicians.
GetEco.com.
Keep your summer fun going in a new Toyota RAV4, America's best-selling SUV. Now through September 2nd, get 4.99 APR financing on a new 25 RAV4 or 5.99 on RAV4 Hybrid, excludes plug-ins, or lease a gas-powered RAV4 LE for $309 a month for 36 months with $36.99 due at signing. With approved credit through TFS, tax, title, and license extra. Call 1-888-36-TOYOTA for details or go to Toyota.com. Toyota, let's go places.
On Jackpocket, America's #1 lottery app. New customers opt in and get a free lottery ticket. Download the app and start ordering lottery tickets today. Use code VOCAL. That's code VOCAL on Jackpocket. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. 18 or older. Jackpocket is a lottery courier and not affiliated with the Ohio Lottery. Opt in for $5 in non-withdrawable lottery credits that expire in 168 hours. Terms at jkpt.co/